So he had his friends beat up the guy, and then they took the girl on a boat to some island and all like fucking raped her. This guy was he was definitely had some let's just say very non-PC.
Dude, and he only had 132 lays, so we shouldn't even consider him really good at game.
Hilarious. That's funny.
But he would not have survived by today's standards, I think.
Yeah, that would have been a problem.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about?
Great question. We should probably figure these out before the live stream.
I never know who's going to come. It's always a surprise. Like who's going to?
I want to talk about Austen's new fashion style, man. You're looking very, very Miami over there.
The glasses,
or the glasses, the shirt.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking All Saints. I love All Saints. I'm addicted.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Marcus, I don't appreciate you insulting Miami like that. Like that's not cool. I don't talk shit about your shitty country. Like,
yeah, true.
We don't all dress like flaming homosexuals. Some of us have normal styles.
True. Sorry about that.
Is it for is the red light thing for your sleep?
Yeah. I after every immersion I do, I reset my sleep, so I start waking up at like 3 a.m., then 4 a.m., 5 a.m.
How many immersions do you do nowadays?
Just once a month. So they're week-long immersions once a month, and then each immersion takes like about 2 weeks out of my life, like recovering and all that kind of stuff.
How much do you charge for an immersion?
$5,000.
Okay, that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, we do the same thing.
Yeah, we're a quiet bunch this week.
Yeah,
I just did a stream last night with Destiny, and I did. Me and Markus did one on Wednesday. We actually had one
last night.
It was just me and Destiny shooting the shit. We agree on a lot of domestic stuff, but then we got into a big debate about foreign policy and Ukraine and whatnot. What would be the best course of action? Destiny's very kind of like YOLO, like, yeah, fuck it, Russia ain't gonna do shit type of mindset. My mindset is more like, let's try to avoid nuclear Armageddon. It's probably not worth risking it. So yeah, we went back and forth for like half an hour on that.
One of my last students was a Ukrainian guy, and I got like an insight into some stuff from him.
What do you say?
His dad is literally on the front lines right now. He believes that Putin doesn't recognize the right of Ukraine to even exist, and he thinks that he talks about Ukrainians like they basically are not even a separate people, and they don't really deserve.
Are you talking about like Putin
land?
Does that?
That's what he believes. Putin
yeah,
thinks.
That's not an opinion. That's not an opinion. He's been very clear about that.
Yeah.
He made a speech well before the invasion where he stated that the idea of Ukraine being a separate people is something that our enemies have lied to us about. Those kind of the words he used.
Yeah, but that's obviously not true. They have their own language and
It was not just that. The borders of Ukraine were agreed upon by the United Kingdom, the United States, and Russia together.
Well, half of Ukraine speaks Ukrainian. The other half speaks, like the eastern part of Ukraine speaks Russian.
But that doesn't matter. They're Ukrainian. Like how many people in Miami speak Spanish? You wouldn't say that's like a Spanish country or something, right? Like they're obviously separate people.
No, but we wouldn't say that they're like like someone who's fresh off the boat from Colombia or whatever, who speaks Spanish, who like struggles speaking English. We wouldn't say they're like, oh yeah, these are like Americans.
But Ukrainians aren't fresh off the boat.
No, I know.
They speak both languages.
Ukraine was only created like 30 years ago.
Yo, Michael, do you speak Spanish?
Before it was the Soviet Union. But yeah, no, I agree. I think there's
it.
definitely separate Ukrainians out there, but it's not. It's just there's some native Russians in Ukraine living in Ukraine.
There's some what? Sorry.
There's some native Russians living in Ukraine. Like,
of course, yeah. I just don't think it's a situation where like majority of Ukraine is like native Russians that want to be Russian and not a separate people or culture. Like I think that like talking point is obviously just one of Russia to give an excuse to try to like get some land.
Even if it was 90% native Russians, it's still not an excuse to invade Ukraine because at this point in time they become a separate country. So it doesn't matter if they're
using that rationale.
90%.
Mexico could invade Texas because 90% of Texas are native Mexicans. So it would be the same thing.
Well, no, they shouldn't because it's part of U.S. territory, just like Ukraine is sovereign.
Yeah, agreed.
So my argument is opposite.
I'm making the same point. It's just like it's one of these
I think we all agree.
The part to me,
talking point by Putin.
Yeah, the part that always bothers me is like, again, a lot of people on my side of the aisle don't agree on this, but it's like it's not that if you want to say that the United States should not be funding this war, I'm with you. I can understand that. But the idea that Ukraine doesn't even have the right to defend itself, you're a fucking idiot. That's just stupid. It's just like the idea that all of a sudden, let me tell you something. If all of a sudden the Chinese invaded Seattle, Washington, I don't really have any friends in Seattle, Washington. I have a few people I know in Seattle, Washington. I would re-enlist in the military and I would help kick the shit out of anybody who invaded my country. And I would do so because of national pride and the idea that I don't have the right to do so and that I should just lay down and let them take over. You're just not being realistic. I think what it's an idiotic talking.
Who argues that? I've never actually heard
several people, especially Scott. God, what's the guy's name? During the beginning of the war, the former Marine who oh gosh, I can't remember what his name is right now. But several people were like, the Ukrainian people, they're just causing more bloodshed. They need to just like lay down their arms and like let Russia take over. Clearly, Ukraine's government was just a money laundering operation. So the entire Ukrainian government needs to be taken over by the Russian government, which is obviously less corrupt. And it was just like, it was fucking madness. It was fucking madness when I was hearing people like, how are you saying this? And the reason why I'm not confused while other people are confused is because I'm 47. I'm aware of what Russia is capable of. They didn't just start doing this shit recently. Russia is the quintessential bully of Europe, of probably the whole planet. They are the bully. That's essentially what they do. And this idea that they're going to just, we're going to go into Ukraine. No, they have the right to invade Ukraine, just like Ukraine has the right to ask NATO for help. I think both sides are true. Neither of these things are immoral. Now, what Russia shouldn't have done was lied to everybody. Said,
I think it's highly immoral for Russia to start this offensive war with Ukraine.
What right?
Sure. I mean, of course, I agree. Yes, yeah.
It's also illegal for them to do that, according to international law. But international law doesn't really matter nowadays.
Yeah, international law doesn't really matter here. Yeah. Again, I'm not saying like Ukraine or Russia is strong enough to where if they want to invade Ukraine, they can invade Ukraine. My point is, then you can't then say Ukraine doesn't have the right to ask NATO for help. They do. They can ask NATO for help. And then eventually we can get to a point where NATO's like, okay, we don't want to help you anymore because we don't want to prolong this war. That's fine also. But like, it's just this propaganda like, oh, they're going to win in a couple. I mean, do you know how many people 3 years ago, if you guys go back and listen to me on these fucking debates, I was with Destiny on one of them, where these people were telling me that the whole country was going to fall in a couple of months. Here we are 3 years later, and they haven't got one fucking dick hair past Donbass with their invasion. And it's just like, it's exactly what I said was going to happen. And people just didn't want to fucking hear it. There's no way that Russia with Russia's armaments can stand up to American armaments, period. It's like 6-1. There's no
the way the drone warfare is being fought with like literally like DJI Mavic drones. And now they're like creating their own drones. Well, it is the most insane change in warfare I've ever seen.
To be fair, that's an advantage to Russia because Russia buys their drones from Iran, and Iran can develop highly sophisticated technological drones for 6,000, whereas the Americans, their drones are like 22,000. So the drone warfare is actually where they actually have an advantage cost-wise. They have a cost-wise over the West.
But have you seen what they use it for? They'll like strap a tank mine to a drone and just like a literal drone that you'd fly for photography.
You're talking about just like, you're just talking about janky DJI mic. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah,
dude, it is crazy. And then they're just like jamming and unjamming. It's a crazy. And then now they have to like put nets around everything because there's kamikaze drones that'll just fly in and blow up a soldier. They drop grenades on.
Yeah, warfare has radically changed than it was 20 years ago. Yeah, sure, warfare changed.
I mean, the thing is, it changed, but didn't Call of Duty tell us this was going to happen? In Call of Duty, you can drop things from drones. You could do it 10 years ago. You could drop things on people. You had a UAV telling you where everybody was. Like, honestly, it's just like in when you play Madden, everybody started running 4 wide and throwing the ball on 4th down, and then the league started doing the same thing. I think warfare is starting to mutate towards what Call of Duty is. It's like
have you ever seen V for Vendetta? Did any of you guys see V for Vendetta?
Yeah, I think I have. Yeah, I think I have.
Yeah, if you go to the comments for any clip from that movie, everyone's just like, dude, they fucking predicted COVID. These guys knew it. It's not a perfect analogy because obviously it didn't work exactly like what happened.
Oh, there's another movie that perfectly predicted it. What was that other movie? Literally
Contagion?
Wet Market in China. Yeah, Contagion. That one was crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy how accurate they got. God dang. And then at the very end, she's like shaking hands with this guy who got this like bat from a wet market. And it was like, man, that's a little too foretelling there, bro.
Although I don't believe it came from wet market. I believe in the lab leak hypothesis. Just based on
I think it could be both. They could have
theoretically it could be both, but I think one is a lot more likely.
Well, no, what I mean by it could be both is they could have procured the animal from a wet market and then used it in order to test the virus on it, and then the virus gets out because of either nefarious or negligent actions. All I'm saying is the idea that it wasn't made with a scalpel and a fucking laser. It's like, we're going to create COVID. That whatever COVID is, it is a descendant of some strand of virus that has been around for billions of years, ever since there were multi-cell organisms.
That's the whole purpose of gain of function research. It's you take existing viruses and you modify them and you make them more lethal so that you know how to protect against them. It's kind of a weird concept, but that's been going on for a while. Gain of function research is nothing new, and that was a lab where they did gain of function research, specifically looking at that type of strain of virus. The head virologist, this was interesting, the head virologist for that laboratory, when this happened, she was on vacation or on a business trip or something like that. But when she was asked by a journalist, her initial thought was like, fuck, the virus got out, that there was a lab leak. That lab had failed multiple security inspections. In fact, there was a report by America that came out 5-6 years earlier that lab is a massive safety leak. The proper precautions are not measured, and that lab needs to be shut down. And just no action was ever taken on that.
Yeah, I mean that seems like a nefarious. But by the way, there's no active cases of smallpox anywhere in the world, but at the CDC headquarters in Atlanta, they have vials of smallpox. They just have way better security there. Smallpox would be, we don't even inoculate for it anymore. With most people, it would eradicate massive. It would be horrible if that shit got back out. But it's sitting there. Look it up if you don't believe me. There are actual live strains of smallpox that still exist.
I believe you. I know that happens.
The idea, these labs will keep viruses.
But there's a difference between having a virus from a while ago and actually actively fucking with the virus to make it more lethal.
Sure. Yeah.
This is like one of the things that outside with the right
I didn't think it was that. I didn't think it was that lethal. I would put it below, like, say, measles or fucking smallpox. I didn't think it was that lethal. I thought it was worse than.
It depends for who. Like for young people, it wasn't lethal at all. But for old people, it was actually quite lethal. For like people 70, 80 plus, it was very lethal.
But the flu is also pretty lethal for them as well.
Right, but this was like 10 times more lethal than the flu for old people. But it was less lethal for kids than the flu.
Right.
So it's just interesting virus. But anyway, I don't want to go too far on the side tangent. All right, let's start with these. Of these four, Alex looks the most handsome. I will take it, although I don't know if that's a fair compliment.
I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
That's just subjective.
All homo.
How to overcome online paralysis analysis when it comes to pickup approach community.
What?
I have my answer, but I'm gonna let you guys go.
Is he asking like how there's so many different perspectives who to go with?
Yeah.
I think you just find the person you resonate the most with, go deep with them for like a year or two, learn as much as you can, and then once you get to a certain level, you can start taking various perspectives. The problem is if you take too many perspectives early on, you do get analysis paralysis, and you don't really know what the fuck to do. So like I had a mentor for 2 years. I just went super deep with him, no homo, no diddy. And then after that, I got various perspectives, and you can learn a little bit from everyone. Like I learned from some people what not to do, and then I learned from some people what to do. But I already had that base of reference experiences and that one methodology that I was using, and then I grew from there.
This was me, probably 2005 to 2008, and back at the time I met Mystery, and I was working with Mystery for a while. And I'll tell you that the thing that happened for me, and all due respect to those guys, was I would go out to different nightlife venues in Miami and Atlanta and Los Angeles, and I saw these guys who were actually crushing it with women. It wasn't videos about it. Like I literally saw the girls that were going home with, girls who were consistently going home with 10s, and I started to realize that there's just holes in what pickup was teaching people, especially when it had to do with logistics, say like female friends, or there were massive holes when it came to social media. And so I just paid attention to what the guys who were crushing it did. So honestly, that's what I would tell you is like, I would maybe, if you want to take a boot camp, go take a boot camp with somebody, but then just like look at the results of what it is that you're going for. I've been so paranoid about that for the last, 16 years. That's why I have more photos and videos of me with hot girls than probably anybody in the space, save for Bulgarian. That's just what I've done over the last few years, because those are the type of girls that I date. And I needed people to see that because there were so many pickup artists that I've met over the last 10 years who were absolutely horrific with women. I mean, they were terrible. Like they literally had no idea what they were doing. And they were so sure of themselves. And then, you know, if you add
name drop.
No. Very similar to what would happen with Lucario, where it's like, hey, can you show the girls that you date? And of course they couldn't. Or if you ever met their wife, you were just like stunned at like how mid or unattractive she was. So I wanted to make sure that there was a pretty big difference. And you'll notice that a lot of guys don't do that. They won't show the results. So I think that's probably the biggest thing I would look for is like, hey, can you actually see that this guy gets the girls that you like?
Isn't
and can
weird
you do it
that that used to be a thing? Like 20, I mean, that's why I posted so much infield and stuff, is like I wanted to have overwhelming proof for people, and same with my testimonials, like overwhelming proof that these guys are getting results. But like after COVID, it seems like anyone can just talk on Instagram and get 400,000 followers, and they're like, and they have like no results, no proof, and then people follow them. I'm perpetually confused what people follow. But should I just chalk that up to people being dumb, or are they just like better at marketing to me, or I don't know?
No. I'll tell you what makes it even crazier is that the more I showed, the more people would come out and just talk shit. It didn't matter how many of these girls were my girlfriends, how many I was dating, how many times I was at the Playboy Mansion, how many of the girls were following me, how many of the girls were commenting. It made no difference. They were just like, the more I said you were wrong and the more I showed the evidence, the angrier people got. So instead of saying, hey, let me look at this objectively, it looks like Michael actually is doing pretty well. What happened instead is, no, you must be paying these girls, or no, these girls, you aren't sleeping with any of them, or whatever cope they had to make. So that's when we created Vegas Immersion. And now 8 times a year, I have 30 guys come out here for immersion.
Why do people follow those who have no proof
because they support their version of reality. People, it becomes part of the identity. They want these people validate the identity. And that's a lot more pleasant than someone who challenges the identity.
Yeah. So to what Alex is saying, there's a great, like, I couldn't understand, why does Wheat Waffles exist? I understand, we all understand that he's wrong, but like, why does he exist? Like, why is he so prevalent when he creates content? His followers are so ravenous, and the reason
unfortunately he's disappearing.
He creates a safe space to be a victim. He creates a safe space. So here's some other ways.
Yeah, but I'm not even talking about those people. I'm talking about like dating coaches that just.
I'm getting to where I'm getting to. I'm getting to your point. So feminism is a way of like making a safe space for a victim, but another way is it's the girl's fault and they're hoes, and here's the trick to fuck them. That's also, I'm a victim, and then I'm creating a safe space for you to call them hoes and sluts. And at the same time, they're the enemy and they're evil and terrible. And so here's this safe place for you. Also, flat Earth is another example. The greatest victimology I've ever seen is flat Earth. Flat Earthers, like literally everything is fake.
Dude, you ever watch Professor Dave Explains on YouTube?
Yes.
Dude, that guy.
I debated.
There needs to be that guy for every niche online.
You've debated Professor Dave, but he's not a flat earther.
No, I debated all the guys. He debated Jaron. He debated Flat Earth. I've debated them. Yeah. And by the way, Jaron is not a flat earther anymore. He wrote me the other day after he went to Antarctica and he saw that the sun goes around this.
Dude, wasn't that video insane? They flew. Some like rich dude flew 4 flat earthers to Antarctica to show them the 24-hour sun. That's impossible based on their model. And they saw it, and then immediately people were like, chills.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. But it's the flat Earth exists because of a victim mentality. The Earth is flat. Operation Paperclip. NASA is fake. The Illuminati, etc. And that's why I'm poor. That's why I'm fat. That's why I can't get a girl, because it's this victimology. So when you give people an excuse to be a victim, you will blow past the 4 of us in 2 seconds. I don't accept any victimhood in my program. 0. There's no victimhood. And because of that, I don't grow very fast, or I don't grow. I mean, this week I've obviously grown insanely fast because we had a video hit 7 million views. But for the most part, I don't grow that fast. And the reason why I don't grow that fast is because I'm not here placating to your victimhood. I'm letting you know you're a bitch for making excuses. And a lot of people just don't fucking like that. They really don't. A lot of people who don't. You see all the people who are commenting negatively. You know the video that college running back, the fitness influencer who's drinking the Saratoga water and he's fucking, he's dipping his face. And you guys know what I'm talking about. I got 700 million views.
Yeah.
Okay, that video.
Ashton Hall.
Yeah, Ashton Hall. Bro, Alec, you're out of your mind. You've definitely seen the video. And so black dude, he's fucking getting ready at fucking 4:30 in the morning and doing all this shit. And people were calling him a tryhard. And my whole thing is like, this dude makes more money than you and he's more successful than you. Like, why do you have anything negative to say about this? He's not telling you that you have to live your life like this and put orange peels in your face. And yeah, some of the shit he did was fake. Like, he was showing that he was out at 6:17 in the morning going to run, but like the sun isn't even up in Miami at 6:17 in the morning. It was like, that part was like fake. But at the same time, it's like this culture that we have now is so ready to pounce on people and to bring them down. And that's the reason why it's never been so easy, if you want to right now, to make money as an entrepreneur, because so few people want to do that. They don't want to take risks and they don't want to, and they want to live in victim mentality. If you can escape those two things, you can become risk tolerant, and you just absolutely, under no circumstance, no matter how bad things get, you just never take on a victim mentality. You'll have outrageous success. But again, like, can you think of anything that's lower risk in the world than leaving anonymous comments on like TikTok or YouTube? There's nothing that requires less risk than that. And so that's what they're doing. They're risk averse. And then they have a little victim into, oh no, Michael, what you're doing is fake. Those girls are all hookers or whatever nonsense they got to make up. And then I'm like, okay, well, if they're hookers, message them and ask them if they'll fuck you for money. And then when they don't, then let me see. Give me, I'll make a bet with you. I'll make a bet with you for $50,000, and they don't ever want to do. They don't ever want to take it up. So that's just kind of the whole thing. It creates a victim space, and so because these other coaches create a victim space, it's not your fault. She was meant to do this. Women will all leave you. All this kind. When you create that victim space, people will jump to it, and they don't need to see your proof. They don't need to see the fact that you date tens. They don't need to see the fact that you get any girl you want. They don't need to see that. All they need to hear is that, hey, this is a place that fits into the narrative that I need to feel. Bro, having people agree with you feels so much better than the truth. Bro, it feels so much better having people just say, yes, bro, you're right. It feels so much better than the truth. And I just, like, when I joined the military, that's one of the things we don't have. They don't tell you they don't say anything to make you feel better. They just tell you the truth, and you get used to it. So, I mean, I would say that's probably the main reason.
That was a really good monologue. I'm gonna actually clip that. That was really good. I agree with basically everything you said. I will just add this. It's very ironic what happened to Wee Waffles. I don't know if you guys saw. Did you guys see his video where he announces that he's quitting YouTube again?
I mean,
it's very coincidental that video dropped like a few weeks after I dropped my Black Pill Destroyed video.
So here are the reasons he gives. I reacted to that video. He starts off the video by talking about how hard it has been on him being a content creator. He's saying that there's people who talk shit about him in the comments without actually watching his videos first. I guess he didn't understand the concept of a hater. And he said that he named two situations where a girl did not want to go on a date with him because she discovered his YouTube channel. So it's just solely based in victimhood. It's like, poor me, he's like, he's basically saying like, yeah, I have to suffer so you guys get the benefit type of thing. And then ultimately, the way he closes it out is by saying, well, I can't make videos on YouTube anymore because it's hurting my life. And I don't know where all these toxic people are coming from, but I am going to create a Patreon community. So if you want to pay me like $10 a month, then you can still watch videos.
Good thing, Wheat Waffles. We were worried about you, but it looks like you've got this whole thing figured out. Good job, bro. We were worried, legitimately. Hey, I have an admission to make. You guys will think this is funny. So I came on here one time, and I don't even remember when this happened, but I talked to you guys about me using my close friends list, and I use that. So basically the way it works like this, I use my close friends with girls that I think are really attractive, that I want to build attraction with, and I only post like pre-selection stuff on my close friends list for those girls. The girl that I was seeing, I told you I was seeing a girl who's Eastern European. Her mother saw the video and then immediately went and showed it to her. She took everything out of context, basically saying that I was doing all this stuff to her. And I was like, well, obviously I'm not. And I thought we would have a discussion about it. Nothing. Done. She was just done with me. So she saw my video. She saw me talking to you guys, and that was enough. She didn't even want to have a discussion with me about it. Nothing. It was crazy. And this happened a couple times.
So Michael, now that you missed out on this girl, are you gonna be a victim and quit YouTube because it's taking a hard role on your life? It's really harsh, man.
So the thing is, I asked the other 4 girls I'm dating, like, what should I do in this situation? And they all told me just keep making content. I'm kidding, sort of. I'm sure. Hopefully, if they're
we'll set up a
watching now.
Patreon for you, bro. It's all good.
The thing is like this. This is kind of a microcosm for anybody who's watching this. I like the example of Layla Hermosi. I don't know Layla and Alex Hermosi. They live like 800 feet away from me, but I don't know them. But Layla and Alex. Layla supports Alex's business. If Alex was lazy, Layla would be like, get the fuck up and go to work. That's the kind of person I want in my life, is someone who is like, again, like think about with Marcus, some girl who wakes up next to you and you're like, you need to get your fucking clients laid today. Go out there and get some pussy. Like someone that behind you, that is who you need to be with, gentlemen. Anyone who gets in the way of your business whatsoever, notice how she doesn't give a fuck when you spend money on her at a restaurant. She doesn't care about where the money came from then, but then all of a sudden she has a problem when you're a dating coach or whatever else you may do that may be controversial. Maybe you're a club host or whatever. You don't mind spending the money, but all of a sudden you have a problem with how I make it. Nah, bro, I'm done with that. That is an absolute non-negotiable from this point. You have to completely and totally support what I do for a living.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Everybody here, everybody who's watching this should have the exact same boundary.
I agree. I mean, a good girlfriend is going to be supportive. Like my girlfriend gives me all like new ideas all the time when I didn't ask for it. She'll participate in any of my videos if it helps. She'll just do anything and everything, hold the camera, whatever.
That's awesome.
If I need help with whatever.
Yo,
so, you know.
when I see guys that, especially when they're older and they're dating girls that are super successful, and I see their wives and their wives are like not super hot. They're not ugly, but they're not like super hot. Then I get to know them, and it's like the wife supports them and all this other stuff. I'm like, yeah, bro, I get it. Like chasing after girls just because they're hot is a fucking losing battle. And having somebody who's just totally down for you to help you build an empire. Like, can you imagine, like, when you think about Alex Hermosi, how much money he's worth and how much money Layla has probably made him additionally on top of like completely supporting his business? That's what you, that is
only
what,
downside
that's what you
is
want.
that his wife kind of looks trans, but if you can look past that,
I don't appreciate that. I do not stand by that. Layla Hermosi is an attractive woman.
I stand by that 110%.
I do not receive
unless you show me a literal like the chromosomes. I'm assuming that's a man, like straight up.
That is,
and that's why she's
Hermosi.
helping him with business so much, man. You need your boys there, okay?
Michael
One of your boys is your
Sartain.
wife.
I don't want to implicate Michael Sartain, but that's what I.
You can implicate all you want.
These are my religious beliefs, and I'm protected under the something amendment.
She's not my type at all, but she's cute. But I see where you're getting at.
I mean, cute or not cute, the way she supports him, that's what I want. That's like, I don't know if I'd ever get married, but like, that's the thing above all else, is like somebody who's just literally going to push you to be the best you can be and like literally not get in the fucking way.
We all know someone who would add that as his lay count. So.
Hey, what's that noise? Hey, what's that noise? What's that noise, Austin? The cease and desist letter you just got? What is that noise? Did you hear it? It just got it. You see it? Did you guys hear it? I heard it. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna need everyone to pitch in $20 for my lawyer.
My Patreon's gonna be dropped down below.
Just to also clarify this, because there's no confusion in the chat. I don't actually think there's anything wrong with people starting Patreons or making a business in any way they can. I'm not a fan of like the victim marketing strategy where you're like, oh, it's so hard for me. Oh, I need you. Like, if you're just like, hey, listen, like my channel's struggling, I need you guys' support, feel free to pitch in, whatever. That's totally cool. But if you're like, yeah, you come up with all this convoluted story, like, I just can't make videos on YouTube anymore. It's like, yeah, you can. Like, no one's believing that. But I need to do it on Patreon. And then he said in the video like 10 times, it's not a ripoff. It's not like, even if you say it's not a ripoff.
I think the best strategy is you get it done. You can tell people the hardships you've gone through, but then you say, and I got it done for you guys anyway. I think that's a good angle, but I don't think it's a good angle. Yeah, I'm a little bit pussy, and now you have to go to this place, and please help me out.
Yeah, I've been playing around with the idea of starting a Patreon myself, but yeah, I definitely wouldn't.
Can we do something? Can we just play that Casey Redbeard commercial and just like react to it? The one he goes, I am dating a teenager. Have you guys seen that one?
No, if you want to, feel free.
Can you guys know where it is? I don't know where it is. It is. I'm not trying to make any judgment about his lifestyle. The greatest marketing I've ever seen. It was. I could not believe when I saw that video. He goes, yes, that's right. I like to date teenagers. He's like,
I've talked about this personally.
Yeah, I've talked
like
about it.
So awesome, bro.
He knows exactly the pain points that will get his video shared.
Yes.
And he, just pokes at them like this.
Oh my god, bro!
I think he's playing with fire too much because he can get deplatformed for all this. That's the issue. I think that's the part he's not maybe thinking through.
They take down his Instagram. They've taken down his Instagram maybe like 6 times so far, and he just gets it back up.
Yeah, but once you lose your YouTube, it's not like you just get to get back to where you are. I don't know. At least I now have a changed perspective after being put on YouTube shit list, so now I'm pretty careful. I mean, I was always pretty careful, but I feel like I'm more careful now.
Wasn't it just a texting video of yours that got taken down?
That was the latest thing that got taken down. But I've had since Christmas Day, this is when it started, I've had about 4 or 5 videos taken down. For some of them, I got a strike. For them, some of them I didn't, but it was about 5 videos or so that got taken down. I got a bunch of strikes. I got demonetized. So yeah, we'll see though. Okay, here's an interesting question. I followed Michael's advice on Perplexity for dating advice. The issue is that it spits out the same cities, LA, Austin, NYC for everything. Like, I want to know if Minneapolis has attractive women.
Yeah, so what I would do is, I mean, the only thing that it can look at objectively is going to be things like BMI or plastic surgery rate or the number of women under the age of 25 that are single in your area. It can't, like, the AI does it because there's no objective. He's just asking. So sometimes I do this. So I did this the other day. I said, because I like girls with boob jobs. I said, I like skinny girls that have boob jobs, that are in really good shape, that are in this age group. What are the top 10 cities I should live in? And like number 1 was Scottsdale, and then it was like Vegas, and it was Houston, Dallas, somewhere in that area. And it ranked the cities by BMI and then plastic surgeons per capita. And was it a perfect list? No, the list happened to agree with me exactly. I thought it would be like Dallas, Scottsdale, and Las Vegas. Those would be the 3 cities that I thought would be the most. I did say white girls, by the way, in the query, although I don't just like white girls. In this query, I happen to say that. And so it said those 3 cities, and I showed it to people, and they were like, holy fucking shit. You have to, so the first thing I'm going to tell you is ask the question 3 more times, like keep delineating further and further down. And number 2 is you could ask the same question about the Minneapolis area and say, okay, what neighborhood am I most likely to find girls that are in this age group, that are single, that are not obese? Not obese is kind of the only one that you can have where you can look at it objectively, because I can't just say this girl's hot and this girl's not. You may think this girl's not hot. The algorithm can't tell the difference. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it can, but it doesn't know that, hey, there's more attractive women that live in Santa Monica than live in Topanga Canyon. It doesn't know that. So I just think what I would delineate it further and further and further down to try to get as close an answer as you get. As you can get. However, I will tell you in the future, I do think it will be able to do this. I think it'll be able to scrape through fucking dating app profiles, being able to look for like average attractiveness per capita in certain areas. And I think it will start giving you ratios on these things pretty soon.
All right. Love to see y'all together again. Hell yeah. Oh, here's an interesting one. Why do some men get offended by the idea of women using vibrators and toys? Probably ego.
It's fear that they're like replaceable by. Yeah, exactly. It's insecurity. It's a fear of the girl like being able to like leave him, basically.
I always found it pretty hot. Like to do like a role play where you walk in on the girl as she's masturbating and then you just fuck her.
Do any of you guys have the magic wand?
Yes.
Dude, that shit works so well. It's insane.
Yeah.
There's a rate. Some girls will come no matter what you do with their hands, mouth, dick, whatever. They're just like squirting all over the place. But some girls, it takes a little bit more to get them off. And like the magic wand is insane. It is so good.
I think what happens with some women is they can become desensitized from using that stuff too much. Just like a guy can become desensitized from watching too much porn. I think that's a fear people have, but I personally don't have that fear. Like I don't mind if a girl does that.
Yeah, there's usually 2 reasons here. Number 1 is, the replaceable thing. So guys think, oh, if a girl likes a vibrator, that's all she's going to care about, and I'm going to get completely replaced like this. I have a story here where there was a girl, one of my students used the magic wand, or was actually doxy on her. And she came to the room, was like telling me, best time ever. This was incredible. Oh my God, I've never come like that. This is insane. She's like, I need to buy one of these. So we showed her where to buy it. She got it. And then apparently she came back to him like 2 weeks later and was like, this is not the same one. And he's like, what are you talking about? She's like, it didn't have the same effect. And the whole point there is it didn't have the same effect because she's not in the right setting or mindset.
Yeah.
If you have a dominant guy telling you to shut the fuck up, you've tied up her hands, he's holding the vibrator there, he's pulling it back, that is a completely different experience to if a girl's just
not that we would ever say that to women, because that would be misogynistic. Not that we would say that, but hypothetically, if a guy said that to a girl,
hypothetically, when I say that all the fucking time,
cancel like a bitch.
And then 100%. And then the other thing is, guys think it's like not them. It's like, oh, the vibrator made her come. It wasn't me. She's gonna go home and just say it's a vibrator. A lot of times, girls, if you just hold the vibrator there and your hand is touching her or your tongue is like fucking doesn't know what it's doing near the pussy, she's always going to think you were the one that did it and not just the toy itself. So you can just go out and test this, just start using MC, but you're not going to have an epidemic of girls leaving you, never wanting to see you again and sitting at home with their vibrators. It's just not going to happen. The opposite will happen. These girls will be desperate to come see you again.
Yeah, I never actually sweated that kind of stuff. Dude,
the funniest answer would have been when he was asking about toys. You'd be like, yeah, so I used my Hot Wheels on. But anyway.
That'd be funny.
Do you believe asexual people exist, or do they just have low sex drive? I mean, I feel like every type of person, every type of person exists. The question is how common they are. I would argue that the majority of the time, just someone has a low sex drive, but there's probably some asexual people out there. Yeah.
Someone's asking if I know Diplo. Do you see this question here? Second to last one.
No, I'm like really far up still. I just go in order. Well, do you know Diplo?
I've been I don't know Wes personally. That's what all the girls who sleep with him call him, Wes. If your girl calls Diplo Wes or calls Skrillex Sonny or calls Deadmau5 Joel, she's not your girl. So the thing about it is that dude has wild parties back at his room up at the Wynn, and I've been to some of the parties, and I'm not surprised that I think he banged Nina Agdal too, right? Logan Paul's girl. I think he hooked it up with her as well. But no, he's pretty, of all the DJs, he's probably top of the list as far as like most notorious for that.
No.
Dude,
damn Alex, how can anyone?
It's his wife, right? Man, she had the worst diss video made of her than I've ever seen.
Oh god, yeah, she was a nightmare for Logan Paul's already failing career. Damn Alex, how can anyone take dating advice from balding, not bald guys? It's crazy. No game will overcome that shit. Well, this is just the logic here is reversed. It would be more of a better question would be how can anyone take dating advice from really good looking guys since they're getting the results through their look? If someone who's not attractive or whatever you guys see me as, like just some fucking bald incel, whatever, if someone like me can consistently get results, then that actually further proves that my shit works. I don't know how that logic is not obvious.
You're just gonna your girlfriend is like cleaning up your apartment right behind you, and it's still gonna make him mad that you said what you just said. Like even no matter how much you disprove what he just said.
There's a guy in my group chat who he travels like around the world. He's bald. He'll meet girls that are literally like they have a bald kink. Like they literally seek out his fucking bald head and get off to it. Basically, it's kind of weird, but. There's
I got plenty of students that are way better looking bald, right? They come across as way more dominant. Like they've got a bunch of tats and shit. They look like serial killers. They absolutely fucking slay on online dating. No, I mean it's a stupid fucking question.
Do you guys understand? You want to look like a serial killer. That's how you want to. I agree. I wish the world wasn't like this, guys, but that is the case. It is the case.
Dude, I just look like a beta cuck with all my hair, bro. I gotta shave it off.
Kind of gay.
Dude, I was thinking about, should I do a video like where I shave?
You have a symmetrical face and you're white. Why would anyone ever listen to you?
That would be a really cool video, but I don't know if you actually want to like fucking shave your head.
Let's do it.
I would do it, and everyone should shave their head at least once in their life. You go low.
Yeah. Have any of you guys ever had hard fucked a hot wife?
I soft fucked a midwife. She was delivering my child.
It's an interesting question. I have hooked up with people's wives. Yes, I used to do that in like 2013, 2000. No.
Do you know what? This guy sounds like his wife just got fucked by like a dating coach and he's trying to find out who it is. Like this is in caps. It's angry. If any of you guys, was it a hard fucking? All right. That's going to upset me even more. All right.
Her pussy was really sore. Okay. It was really sore.
Hard. It just depends on who you ask, you know, whether or not it was hard. It depends, you know.
Thank you.
I don't know how to answer that.
Are you noticing an uptick on dating app fatigue? Reopeners don't work like they used to, and our number closed, drop off asset plans, and it seems some. I don't know. I constantly am doing like Tinder experiments now. I'm just doing one right now, which is like Tinder feminine. It's going to be male feminist picks up girls, where I made a really feminine profile and I'm saying like really cringe feminist shit. And I got like 250 likes in 48 hours. I got a shitload of girls who are still down to meet up. So I don't know. I'm just not noticing dating apps getting harder. Just it hasn't been my experience.
To piggyback on what Mike was saying about like how to find where they're hot girls, I think that literally is the best use of dating apps. Put your dating app in a city and just like swipe, and you'll see like after you do 100, 200, what the average like girl looks like in that city.
I think what's happening, Austen Dunham talked about this. What he's receiving, this anonymous guy, what he's receiving on his dating apps is not going to be what a guy who's successful on dating apps is receiving. And so he's going to be getting, it's just like, well, you do this if you have a sales team, the best closers get the best leads. It's this, and the worst closers get the worst leads. As you get fewer and fewer right swipes on the dating app, you're going to get like worse and worse girls. And I think what he's witnessed, because I've been on some dating apps before, and I was like, wow, there are actually some, pretty girls here. But for the most part, I talk to my friends and they're like, yeah, there's a few, but I have to swipe like hundreds of times before I find anyone who's hot. And when he's talking about reopening, I just feel like what's happening is the app, at your lack of success is causing the app to just elo you lower and lower and lower. And so that's the result that you're getting. So, and I'm not surprised.
Girls hate dating apps too, which is surprising.
Yeah, but this is probably in this guy's head. I doubt he's measuring how many reopens he does and what the success rate of that is. He's getting girls on dates. Like he said, I set plans in Tinder and seem so unmotivated on the date. Like he's getting dates. So he's going on dates with these girls. Like it's probably in his head. He's probably coming to this date thinking these girls are unmotivated. And if you act that way and seem that way, that's how the date's going to go. It's going to be fucking rubbish. I think just start afresh. Right. Yeah. And if you go on a date with a girl, she's going on a date for a reason. Sure, there are levels of that, but she's on the date. She wants to fuck you, right? Just go on that date and don't fuck it up. And chances are it's going to end well. So
it's very rare that I get to the point, the date part. I've seen, there's some girls who are unmotivated to set up the date, but it's very, very rare that you actually go on a date and the girl seems unmotivated. Like
100%. She's going to that effort to rock up to the date. Like,
so I'm curious what you guys think about this, what you think about this, Marcus, but it's like, I don't care how she feels about me before the day. Like I think about it like I get the ball at the top of the key. The defense doesn't want me to score, but I'm not going to not score because the defense doesn't want me to score. I'm going to go to the basket and score. It doesn't make any difference. I'm not going to force my way there, but it's like when I meet a girl, I don't care if she likes me or if she doesn't like me. I'm going to make her like me. Because I'm going to do things that spark attraction. I just don't think it's one of these things where if you concern yourself too much with what does she think about me right now, I think you can still be calibrated. I just never let it affect my confidence if I think a girl doesn't like me. And I think part of the reason why was so many times here in Las Vegas, girls go out, like say on a Friday night, and they go hard. They drink, maybe they take some Molly, whatever. And the next day they just have resting bitch face or low blood sugar face. So like, they just look at this all the time. And you hang out with them for a while, and in the end, you get a text message like, hey, loved hanging out with you, or they come home with you, and you end up having sex with them. And the whole time, during the night, they're like, and you just don't recognize it's a combination of Botox and low blood sugar, and you think that the girl doesn't like you. And I do not react to that shit anymore. I don't care. When I have the basketball in my hand, I'm going to score. I don't give a fuck with the way the defense plays me. And so I think guys concern themselves way too much with this idea. I wouldn't give a fuck if she was motivated or if she wasn't motivated. When she gets on the date, she's going to have the time of her life, and it's going to be following me back to wherever I want to go. I don't care whether or not she's motivated.
You don't need to be a mind reader here to figure out if the girl likes you or not. It's not important. Like, just look at her behaviors. If she rocks up to the date, she's compliant, she's into you, there's some level there. And I agree, like you just understand that you can build this over time, you can build that compliance and keep testing it. So yeah, if she's rocking up to this fucking date, as Michael said, it doesn't fucking matter. She rocked up to the date. So move her forward, right? It doesn't matter. You don't just sit here and pretend to mind read about what this girl is thinking.
When you have enough experience, you'll actually have a girl who met you and didn't like you, and you still went home with her. So if you could get her when she, so now what happens is it becomes Schrodinger's attraction. Instead of Schrodinger's cat, it's Schrodinger's attraction. then it gets to the point where it doesn't matter if she liked you when she met you or not. You know you're going to maintain attractive masculine boundaries, and on average, you're just going to do a lot better than the average guy because you keep doing the right thing, regardless of if she liked you or if she didn't like you at the beginning of the day. Again, I analogize it to like playing football. It's like, I don't care what the defense does. The defense doesn't want me to score. I'm not going to not score because the defense doesn't want me to score. It's my initiative and it's my agency. So I'm going to do things that are going to make her attracted. And that's it. And women don't believe you can make them attracted. And black pill people don't think you can make women attracted. And mode 1 guys don't think you can make girls attracted. But we know you can, because all of us has probably seen a situation where a situation was not going well. And then all of a sudden it started going well because you were able to generate attraction.
Austen, am I still echoing?
Just a little bit.
Oh, fuck.
Why don't you just wear AirPods?
I don't own AirPods. I do everything wired. Long story. Okay. How bad is it? Like 1 through 10?
It's like a 4.
It's not bad.
3.
Okay. If it gets worse, then I'll switch things up. Here, I'm curious what you guys think about this. This is the advice I always give. When you're on a date with a girl, I don't even think like, oh, does she like me or does she not like me? I don't think that's even a good thing to think. I think you should assume attraction and then just focus on building sexual tension and comfort if necessary. That's the only thing I focus on, is how can I build maximum sexual tension and how can I build adequate comfort so that she'll go home with me. I think that's a better mindset. What do you guys think?
Yeah, because when you're starting off the first 10, 20 minutes, the girl's going to be a little bit anxious. She's not going to know if this date's going to go well. Also, another thing I talk about is you're not dating in a vacuum. Most guys suck. Like, they suck ass. Most girls suck ass. Like, most people are just kind of lame. So she also has seen this patterns of like, okay, the past 3 dates I went on, the guys have been kind of shit. Is this going to be a waste of my time? So as she starts to warm up to you, like, what is that? What's tsundere? It's like a Japanese word. Like, you warm up to people over time. And like, I've gone on dates with girls where it's like the first like 10 minutes, they're a little bit off, maybe they just finished work, they're a little stressed. And you don't want to like hyper respond to how she's feeling and be like, oh shit, does that mean that I'm bad? No, like Alex said, assume attraction, assume it's on, and just execute the program. Like, just have a conversation and act in an attractive way. And by assuming attraction, you're putting yourself in a position where your behaviors and your communication is going to be most attractive. So yeah.
I got this idea from like, this is when I was learning game analyzing, when I'm the most confident. And you're the most confident after you finish fucking a girl, right? You're like so smooth, you're so funny, like you're just super confident. But like, why is that? Well, that's because number 1, you're free from the outcome. And number 2 is that she likes you, so you just act accordingly. So it's like, okay, well, it's kind of a cheat code if you could just assume attraction. I think the mistakes a lot of beginners and even intermediates make is that they think that, oh, the girl doesn't like me enough, so I'm not going to try to kiss her. I'm not going to try to pull her because I don't think there's enough attraction, when in reality there was. So if you just assume that attraction, act accordingly, and then just build as much sexual tension as possible, and comfort sometimes will be necessary too. But I think that's a better paradigm.
Think about Dave Chappelle versus like a young comedian who's just starting off. If you ever see a comedian who's starting off and he bombs on stage, it spirals downward out of control, right? It spirals. Have you ever heard Dave Chappelle talk about, ever since I was 10 years old and I went on stage, I always do well. It's like, every time I get on this shit, I never bomb. It's incredible. And then he made that one joke about being super high one time on stage, and he bombed in Detroit, and he goes, people of Detroit, you will never get your fucking money back. So even joking about him bombing was funny. His extreme confidence, he does not go out there and worry about whether or not he bombs. He knows he's going to take right action, and he's going to be funny, and the right people will appreciate it. And because he has that attitude of like Chappelle doing comedy is what I would consider like supreme confidence. When I see that, it's the same way I feel on a date. It's like, I'm not getting the feedback from her that I want. Therefore, I'm the comedian who's spiraling because the crowd is not laughing at my jokes. I am indifferent. I am unaffected. I am unaffected. It doesn't mean that I'm uncalibrated. I'm still doing things. I'm not being super weird about it, but I am not affected by her resting bitch face. That is just something, living in Vegas, there's so much resting bitch face, from dehydrated women sitting out by the pool, getting drunk. Next day you hang out with them and they're just And you're like, oh, this girl doesn't like me. No, take that out of your head. Not concerned with it. Do not let what her actions are affect you. But if she gets up and follows you and say, okay, well, that's compliance. Let's go over to the bathroom. That's compliance. Come meet my friends. That's compliance. Here, sit over here. I can't hear you very well. Lean in. That's compliance. Those things are compliance. Let's go eat after. That's compliance. Let's go back to my place. That's compliance, regardless of what her face tells you.
Okay,
yeah, there's two small changes that I just add in. There's two small changes I just add into here from my perspective. I agree with Michael. I think about German girls, right? Like, I agree. It's like the Botox, but a culture thing where Germans just are so... They'll give you absolutely nothing. And then you're like, do you want to come home and have sex? Yes. It's like, oh, fuck. Okay, I didn't expect that. So 100%. Yeah, I would shift it to, instead of like assuming attraction, like assuming you can build attraction. So I'm okay if I rock up and the girl's not that into me or doesn't look that into me. Instead of being like she is, because I feel like you might want to change the way you're acting here. You might actually want to look for ways to build attraction as opposed to sexualize right now. So I'd rather like assume I can build it. And then number two, I fucking hate the word comfort. It's just a semantic thing, but I think some guys take it the wrong way. A lot of times I see students in interactions, it's not going well, and they think I'm missing comfort. Now they start asking the girl about her pets, about her grandmother, about how many siblings they have. It just fucking kills attraction completely. I rather use the word trust. The girl needs to trust in what you're saying. You need to be congruent. But if I never want a date where the girl was like, that felt so comfortable. I want to feel nervous. I want to be anxious. I want to be unsure if I'm into it. I want her to chase. And I think like some guys hear the word comfort and they think, oh, I just need to be really nice and make her feel safe, as opposed to feeling like I need to build trust and be congruent here. So there's just small changes I would make.
Yeah, but Marcus, you have to agree. It's a fine line. Like if the girl feels too nervous, she could just dip or just not come home with you, right? There should be a combination of sexual tension, excitement, a bit of nervousness. I agree with you, and some level of, you can call it trust, comfort, whatever. To address what you said about the students, I agree. Like logical questions isn't how you build comfort. It's not about asking about her pets. The way you build comfort, typically, the best way, in my opinion, is through humor, making the girl laugh, getting her to loosen up, getting her to be in the moment, right? Getting her out of her head and getting her in the moment. That's, I think, the pinnacle way of building comfort. But yeah, I agree. A lot of people get it wrong. Like, I'm gonna ask her about like her childhood, and that's gonna build comfort. Oh wait, she was molested by her stepdad. Oh shit.
Yeah, great conversation. Yeah, I agree. That's why I said it's just probably just semantics, but I think.
Oh really? What was that like? Way. Ask her open-ended questions.
Oh my god, bro!
Exactly. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ. I think another one big one is. I think another big one is
play your cards way. We can role play that later.
Jesus Christ.
Damn, you're gonna ruin the surprise. I was gonna molest you tonight. Yeah.
See, I'm not building comfort. I'm building trust. No.
I mean, shit. Like, depends on the girl's humor, but a lot of like sometimes you can make a girl laugh. Like, just a lot of problems are solved. Especially with like bitchy standoffish girls. If I can get her like fucking giggling, then like half the battle's over at that point. You know. I think there's different styles of game. Okay, what do you guys think about this? Here's kind of the analogy I've always given. I used to think that basically like the style of game that I do and that you do, Marcus, and you do, Oz, because we have similar style, which is basically attraction game where we build massive amounts of attraction, we spike attraction, build sexual tension, blah, 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 was like the only type of game. I did have an experience with this one guy. He's not on YouTube or whatever, but he didn't do any of that. He never did emotional spikes. He never really sexualized. He never really cracked any jokes. He just built deep connection, and he would close. I mean, I saw it. I saw him close like hot girls over and over again. So now the way I explain this is that there's two types of game, and that the connection game is a part of game that I have seen work for at least this one person.
I mean, it really depends what you mean by connection. I think a lot of guys do things and they don't realize what the variable is that is creating attraction. So I've had guys come up to me before that say, I'm just completely fucking honest. And you probably know who I'm talking about. This is an old guy that used to coach, but he's like just extreme honesty. And he used to teach his students this. The issue was this was an attractive guy, dominant, assertive, calibrated. He'd go up to girls and honestly tell them, like, listen, what you're doing to me right now is fucking crazy. Like, if there weren't people right here, he'd build crazy sexual tension. He's honest. I love to travel the world. This is what I'm going to do with my business. And he created huge amounts of attraction, closed goals. He thought it's because he was honest. No, it wasn't. It was all these other things. Now he tells his students, just be honest. You have some guy that's really nervous. He goes up to a girl and he's like, I'm about to pee my pants. How nervous I am speaking to you. And the girl's like, okay, well, have a good night. And his whole thing is honesty. And I think sometimes you have guys that build connection and they think, oh, because I did ask about her grandmother, that's what made me attracted. And then you actually listen to their conversation, and the whole
Marcus,
time they've been like having all these attraction triggers happening.
Yeah, I went out with this guy extensively. I listened to his interactions. We went on double dates. He was my solid wing for like a year or so. So I don't know. I cannot build connections with strangers really fast. It takes me like a long time of getting to know someone before I can build an emotional connection. I'm not really sure how the fuck he did it. He definitely wasn't a bitch, or he didn't like fail shit test or something like that. But there was no emotional spikes. He didn't really crack any jokes. He just found something, and he could really vibe with a girl. And just the girls just kind of had this like, this guy really gets me type of look on their face.
100. I think the two biggest attraction triggers, understanding the girl and sexual authority, minus like fame or huge amounts of pre-selection, right? But like for the average guy, it's understanding the girl and sexual authority. And so like, I think if you can show the girl that, listen, I get you, I understand you, you can do that through cold reads, you can do that through this vibing. I think that's massive. I just think there's a nuance and an art to that, more than just, oh, I'm just going to try talk to the girl about stuff that she's into. I think you're right. There's like a skill here and an art here where girls feel he gets me. And there's huge attraction there. I completely agree with that.
I wouldn't even call it a skill. I would call it a talent. Like, he just seems like because no matter how
talent. Yeah, I mean, it can be learned. I think you can teach that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I could ever get to a point where I can instantly connect with girls. It's really hard for me to connect with other people fast. I need to really trust the person first, and it takes a lot of time for me to build trust. But I guess to each their own. All right, anyway, let's move on. Alex, do you think the black pill still stands in 2025 for the dating market? Like before I had Thesingleguy, what do you think about now? I don't think it was ever prevalent. Like you have to understand, there's different dating markets.
Yeah.
There's like the online manosphere / pickup-y dating market. That's a small dating market compared to just the normie dating market. Like normal guys who just go out, talk to their friends about picking up girls. Maybe they've seen a few videos. It's probably not going to be videos on an art channel. It's going to be probably more generic videos where someone's picking up a girl with jokes and stuff like that. Maybe like they watch his Polo Kid or something like that. That's the predominant dating market. Those are most of the people. And yeah, like the black pill will never resonate with them. I do think that a lot of people enjoy being a victim. So that's basically where black pill gets its people from.
Yeah, asking about black pill being prevalent is like saying, hey, is flat earth less real now that we can see that the sun goes around the South Pole, the horizon of the South Pole? Flat earth was never relevant, not for 1 second, and not even 1% relevant. Like when you're asking the question, black pill was never relevant because it was never real. It was just always just a placeholder for victimhood and a victim ideology. And whenever it was faced with facts, like you said before, someone like me was a bully, or he, criticized Austen or something like that, because in an arena of ideas, black pill does not stand up. It only stands up when you make YouTube videos by yourself. Very similar to like flat earth.
So for a long time, I believe that you and I also have talked about this probably, but I believe that if I just am patient and present strong evidence, I could talk most black pillars out of being black pillars, which is why I platform them so extensively. And I was completely wrong. Once someone is a black pillar, they're 90% of the time, they're just too far down. You can show them all the evidence in the world, and there will always be a next cope. It's like, okay, I can show you a video.
They don't make that decision based on evidence. They make it from a very deep emotional place of shame or fear. And you can't really reason people out of those base emotions.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't get into their belief because of reason or accountability. You cannot get them out of it because of reason or accountability. Hey, I have the Casey Redbeard commercial if you guys want to see it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, stand by. I can't believe you guys have never seen this.
Dude, the comments under his videos are hysterical.
I was actually trying to find it while you were talking. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, stand by. Let me say here. X.
10-4.
Make sure I have this up in Chrome.
Affirmative, Commander.
Stand by. Let me see if it opens.
Wait, Austin, is my echo better or worse now?
Better.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so let's go.
Why don't you just use your wired headphones when we do the calls?
Here.
I'm just gonna get headphones.
Okay.
I spent so much money.
They're
Can you guys?
I'll send you.
Can you guys see my screen? Okay, let me try. Let me play it from here. Oh, sorry, my bad, dude. I did it the wrong way. Let me try it one more time. Promise you, I'll figure this out. Let's try it again. Okay, you guys can see my screen.
No, it's not shared yet. There we go. You're good now.
It's not sharing.
No, it's good now.
Yes.
No, we can. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
good.
ready? Okay, let me make sure I turned it up. Okay, let's listen.
I date teenagers. Yes, you heard that right. The girl in this video is 18 years old. And the reason why I like to date actual teenagers, 18 and 19 years old, is because by the time they reach 25, 28 years old, the amount of bad habits that they've taken on from the influence of mainstream society and feminism, it's almost impossible to correct them. Things like getting tattoos, getting piercings, taking on a generally combative and disagreeable nature. Then there's the entitlement mindset where they expect the man to do everything for them and don't want to offer anything in return. It's much easier to just start with a younger girl, more impressionable, kind of a blank slate, and teach her from the very beginning the proper way to conduct herself and guide her rather than try to fix the bad habits of an older woman. I date teenagers.
I date teenagers. Yo, I love this.
It's funny. I think he's wrong, though. I think that there's plenty. Like, the solution here is just to find a girl who doesn't have these bad habits, and there's so many of them. Like, even in Miami, where I live, there's so many great girls. Like, I understand there's some shitty girls who have bad habits, but those girls were probably shitty when they were 18 too.
Exactly.
So, like, I just never. This is what me and Casey have always debated, because this just does not make any sense to me based on my experiences.
Yeah, to pretend a girl has no outside influence whatsoever when she hits 18, like their personality is like very developed. Yes, it changes a lot in the next few years, which I would argue is a problem. Like, I don't want to be dealing with that.
Yeah, like, a lot of girls are immature at 18, 19.
Yeah, like, but look, I have no problem. Like, yeah, I date teen. I don't think there's anything wrong with dating an 18-year-old. That's what you want to do. I think teenagers, obviously, he's making it. He's trying to imply that he's dating underage women, which is he's trying to rile up some feathers there. But yeah, I think his reasoning for it is a little bit flawed. Like, you can find 18-year-olds with fucking horrible personalities, or you could find like a 25-year-old with an amazing personality. I don't think it's necessary.
I just as a person who films a lot of ads, I applaud him. That was a great ad. I don't whether or not I believe it. Like, I don't think I could date an 18-year-old. I just don't. I don't know how that would work. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's some in Eastern Europe that are so hot that I get away with it. But for the most part, I'm around 20, 21, 22 would probably be the youngest.
The main reason to date younger women is because they have more valuable reproductive assets. Their eggs are younger. That's basically it.
Is that what you think about on the first date, Austin? You're just
they repair your broken sperm. They repair your broken DNA.
Birth certificate right now.
Oh my lord! I guess
pop an egg out.
It's the most important thing for you is to have a kid. Like,
I got my microscope ready.
I feel like with modern technology, like, a woman in her 30s can easily have kids, even early 40s.
They can have kids, but there's more likely chances of like mutation and other stuff like birth defects and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
that's true. It just depends
there's a
on
100% chance they're gonna have a mutation. So it's like, who gives a fuck, right?
But then the question is,
chance they're gonna be getting my dick. So
not the child, I hope, not the kid.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Would you rather? This is my question for Austen, right? Would you rather have? Say you're looking for a mother of your kids, right? Would you rather someone like 18 years old that you think would be an awful mother, or someone like 28 years old that would be a great mother?
I'll just be straight up. Sorry, what was the second option?
Or a 28-year-old that would be a great mother. So like bad genes, we could parent.
I'd honestly rather a 28-year-old because
28 is not bad
18-year-olds is like
35
torture.
Yeah.
Have you guys talked to 18, 19-year-olds recently?
Yeah,
I have. Yeah,
it is quite painful.
Yeah. They're usually like immature, and
if you want to meet a lot of,
I think it's worse than previous generations because they grew up like through the pandemic, and also like
they're addicted to their
brain
phones.
The short form
their phone addictions are so bad.
Yeah, if you guys really want to meet a lot of like 18-year-old girls, it's easy. Just go to Rasputin or fucking Warwick in Los Angeles. Like that, nothing but underage girls. Like that place is it's crazy in LA. It's just nothing but underage women.
Commenting on Casey's video, it almost seems like the reverse now. And obviously, younger women, there's always the genetic component that makes it better. But it's like finding a woman who grew up without like severe internet and phone addiction and severe like anxiety issues comparing herself online. That almost seems like a better like girl in general. Like if you take away the age, it would be better to find a girl that, had real self-esteem and, doesn't have like insane phone addiction.
I've always preferred for like serious relationships. I've always preferred dating women either my age or a bit younger, like 4 or 5 years younger at most. I've never preferred dating girls significantly younger. I've hooked up with plenty of girls who are like 18, 19, 20, but just
What
like
girls look the
them.
most attractive to you, Alex? What age?
I don't think I have an age. It's going to be somewhere between 18 and I would say probably like 40. But there's some girls walking around at 40 that are hotter than 18-year-olds to me, and vice versa. I don't have like a strong like beauty preference for like 19, 20-year-olds.
What do you think about Andrew Tate saying that it's gay to date women over the age of 30?
Did he really say that?
No, I think what he said was it's gay if you're over 30 and you haven't had a kid. I think that's what
no.
he
I
said.
think it's 20. He said dating women over the age of 25 is gay. Something like this. And they're like, he's like, would you date a girl like who's 40 or something? He's like, no, I'm rich. Why would I do that? Or something like this.
Surely that's trolling. It's got to be trolling.
Yeah,
but that's what I think. That's what he does. He just wants like young women.
I think it's genius
because he wants like an army.
genius. I know one girl he's dating, and she's not 25. So
he's gay. You heard it here. Michael just said Tate is gay.
No, he said 30. He said 30.
That podcast has never.
Why are you going to call him out like that, bro?
Never happening now.
Michael's getting a lawsuit. Any boot camps this year? There's a good chance for all of us to promote. Any boot camps this year? How much is one, and what's the longest you offer? Let's just start with Austen, and we're going clockwise order.
Yeah, I do a 7-day immersion, which is like a boot camp, and I do them every month. Europe, US, and probably Latin America this year. I'm going to add some more.
I do 8 of them a year. Starts in March, ends in I want to say August or September. We do 1 week long. It starts off, you have to go out every single night. We put you on the guest list of every single nightclub in the city. So in the mornings, you're doing photo shoots. You're getting photos for your social media. In the evenings, the afternoons, we're doing classroom stuff. And then at night, you are required to do 50 approaches per night, plus other assignments that we give you. It's 7 days long. It culminates on day 7 with we go to a gym and play basketball. And it's not what you think of like regular pickup basketball. It's actually more like the guys. It's learning to give yourself permission, learning balance, like learning to not ask for permission when you're trying to grab the ball, stuff like that. We go over that. And then Saturday night is graduation. I have a really strong connection with the guys who own Sapphire Gentlemen's Club. So they let me use their the back rooms there as my teaching room. It's almost like the Bada Bing back in the Sopranos. Yeah, they let me use the karaoke room, and I teach my courses back there. And then whenever I bring a bunch of dudes there, they just usually comp me bottles. So if you guys are interested, we do 8 of these a year. Now you have to be a member of Men of Action to take immersion. We don't offer immersion for anyone who is not a member of the Men of Action team or a Men of Action course. And because the course won't make as much sense if you have not, immersion won't make as much sense if you have not done the prerequisites in the course. And then we have an advanced immersion that we also do additional to that, but that's what we do. And then they're not exactly boot camp. We have social media boot camps. There's no nighttime aspect to them, but what'll happen is an SMBC, so we have one in May in Miami. And the way that works is, again, we have photographers that go around with you, just get insanely good shots. I think Jay Harders is doing it for us, or Efrain. I forgot who's doing it for us out there. And then afterwards, you get those photos, and then we always base it around a Babes in Toyland, a Teatro party, a Maxim party, or something like that. And then you take all the girls you met and you bring them to that party. So that's the other thing we do. So we have 8 immersions, and I think like 4 or 5 social media boot camps per year.
Did you meet, just random question, did you meet Jay Harder through me, or was it the other way around?
No, he reached out to me a long time ago. No, it wasn't that. Jay Harder met Tyler and Tristan somewhere. I think when because we do the Miami thing every year, and he had been following me or something like that. Then they introduced me to him, and then I did a testimonial for his. I think I did a testimonial for his program.
Did he figure out how shutter speed works yet?
Yeah, I'm sure he
knows. I'm sure he knows how shutter speed works.
Yeah, no, he's good at his craft. Yeah, PWF has started doing boot camps about half a year ago. We've only done a few so far, but it's run primarily by Scotty. I do show up. I do also participate. It's a whole weekend thing. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday night we come and this is all included. We video record you picking up the girls. Obviously, it's only for yourself to learn from.
Wait, you have boot camps now, Alex?
Yeah. And then we watch it back with you and give you tips. It's a whole weekend thing. And
so do you do photo shoots with them too and set up the online dating?
No,
so it's mostly like in person.
Yeah, I will help them with it's in person. I will help them with any online dating questions they have, but it does not include a photo shoot. But if they want to do a photo shoot, I will again, I don't like the photographer doesn't work for me. He's just a friend of mine. So I have some influence, but I can't just just do the shit for free. So I will try to like get them a good deal. But
for us, there's locations we take you to, like Valley of Fire, and then there's also a mansion that we get where we do photo shoots there as well. Every time you come to immersion, so when you leave immersion, you have enough content for like 6 months or several months of Instagram photos to fix your fucking Instagram. That's what we do it for. Also, I forgot to mention a couple things. About twice a year, I do one with Owen. Owen and I will do a boot camp together. He'll come out here and do one, and then I'm doing one with Mystery sometime this summer. Mystery and I are going to team up on one. I'm basically just going to handle the logistics for him. He's going to teach. He's not going to teach MOA stuff, obviously, but like when people come out here to Vegas, because it's so cheap, this is the only city where I can get 50 guys into a nightclub where there's a bunch of hot girls, and I can get them in for free 7 nights a week. There's no other city in the world where you can do this. And so that's why we do them here. I also have like free access to these conference rooms, free access to like transportation and comp tables and comp models.
What can you do in Vegas that you can't do anywhere else?
Get
50 guys into a nightclub full of hot girls for free. There's no other city in the world where you could do that.
You put 50 guys on an immersion?
No, 30, but we've had 50 guys before we put on a guest list.
You can get 50 guys into
girls are at the venue?
Austin's room.
Have you been to Omnia? Have you been to Omnia? It's like 2,500 people.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there's a massive nightclub, like Excess nightclub. Like there's massive.
So
nightclub.
How do you analyze
30 girls
their
on a
footage?
guest list every week? Huh?
How do you analyze footage or like debrief?
So in a nightclub, we're being recorded right here. In a nightclub, we would never do hidden infield because that would get you kicked out of the nightclub and arrested.
Well, yeah, they won't even let you in.
Never do that, Austin. But if we were to do it out, say on Fremont or whatever, there's a couple ways we'll do it. There is some infield. It's only shown in immersion. We're not showing it ever outside of immersion, specifically for legal reasons. I don't want to get canceled on YouTube. And then secondarily, we ask a lot of our clients who don't come to immersion to do man on the street videos so we can watch them in their interactions with women. So every week on my Tuesday calls, I probably go over somewhere between 2 and 10 different man on the street videos that my clients do.
So you review the immersion footage afterward on the weekly calls?
No, we would only review it at immersion, like on a later date during that same week.
So how would you review 30 people's infield? Because like
we probably won't get infield. Probably wouldn't get infield for all 30. Again, if you guys want to try to do hidden infield in Las Vegas, I'll pick you up on Martin Luther King when they lock you up, bro. Like you can't do that shit. It's not the same as other places. They'd really have a huge fucking problem with like any kind of SLR inside of the casino.
Yeah, I believe that. I don't think anyone.
So we just used to do it in the lobbies.
There's a cool thing that Mike Squan Casanova does. He basically uses his iPhone and an Apple Watch and uses that as the monitor.
Yeah, no, I've seen that before. Yeah, it's. I'm not saying. I am not going to refer to whether or not we would ever do that in a nightclub because I don't want to get in trouble. But my point is what we do to kind of work around it. And
it's like Vegas and Miami are so gay with their rules, dude.
Yeah.
Like
Ashton
Hawley got kicked out of his apartment.
I don't think Miami is as strict as Vegas, in my opinion.
Dude, Miami, the apartments are extremely strict with rules. Like the Ashton Hall guy, he has like almost 11 million followers. He gets kicked out for duplicating a key fob.
I don't know. I've never.
Dude, I got fake evicted from my place because we pulled too many girls back. They literally put an eviction notice on my door and kicked me out, even though it wasn't recorded or anything.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Going back to what you said before, what I'd recommend is don't do hidden infield. Instead, have them do man on the street.
Can you explain what man on the street is? I've heard you use this term a lot, and I think I have an idea.
So I'll use this. Let me see. Let me find one of my clients here.
Is it just a guy recording himself?
Yeah.
I think that can give you an indication of their communication, but I don't think anything is as real as the thing that they're doing. Like if they want to be good at
I'm
talking
with
girls,
you,
they
but
should be talking to girls and
but in a
being
way,
real
this
about it.
actually can give you more of an indication because hold on, it's on the wrong one. Sorry, I did it on. Everything has to be on Chrome.
I think the
Sorry,
best
guys.
indication is doing the thing.
Agreed. I'm just saying there are workarounds about other people's privacy when you just like start violating their privacy by filming them in field.
Let's not get into a boot camp snob debate about
okay.
the merits,
can you see my screen?
The merits of doing boot camps and different strategies.
Can you see my screen?
Can
you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Spencer.
A little. Okay.
So if you see a man,
like he goes out in Canada now, and like girls will literally come up to him because they recognize him from the channel.
the bar that you like, how are you going to approach him?
They approach me.
You're not going to approach him at all?
Never.
What if he's not looking at you?
He will eventually.
Okay, how do you make sure that he sees you?
Spencer does this all the time, but I have some clients that like really struggle talking to women, and we have them do man on the street. And because the reason about man on the street is like when you get good at it, there's actually more pressure because there's a light on you and other people are staring. And so if you can bench press 300 pounds, you can bench press 200 pounds. It actually makes it easier for other types of approach. So we've been using that as a way to ethically be able to go anywhere we want and get in field of our clients talking to women.
All right, so without boot camps, but like ethically, there's a lot of places that allow like one-person consent laws and stuff. So yeah, depending on where you're at, I guess. But our boot camps range from $1,200 to $13K, depending on what you're getting. We have 4-day boot camps. We have a 2-week boot camp. So 2-week, similar to Alex, we keep it as a like 1-to-2 ratio. So for every coach we have, there's going to be 2 students. So we can basically half the time it's going to be one-on-one for you. And yeah, we film you guys. We get some infield on that first day, and we do a diagnostic. And then after that, we continue listening into all your interactions. We cover text game as well. So Swift does profile reviews. We get photos done for you guys if you need them. And we do lessons on texting. We also we have a sex coaching 2 days there. So one is going to be theory, one's prac. So we get a girl in and we demonstrate certain techniques, and then you can practice. So we have guys practicing massaging, fingering techniques. Some guys, depending on the girl.
I gotta understand this. So there's a girl that you got there, and the students are like fucking her. And
depends on the girl. We've had a student. Actually, almost all boot camps, someone is like, "Fuck the girl we brought on," but that's not promised. Like usually, it's just fingering and massage. But yeah,
part of the guaranteed late package.
Yeah.
Who are the girls?
Yeah, it's awesome. Like the girls, it's just usually girls that we're seeing that we're like, hey, do you want to come help us out? Once in Vegas, this was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, we just got an escort come in. But usually it's much better if it's a girl you actually know. They're way more comfortable. They give amazing feedback. Like in Poland, last time when we ran it, we had a Ukrainian girl there. Dude, she was amazing. Like we were practicing dirty talk, and one of the guys seemed really nervous. And she's like, wait. She's like, why do you think I'm in your bedroom right now? And the guy is like, because Marcus knows. And she's like, no, role play. We're on a date. Why am I here? And the guy's like, she's like, I want to fuck you. Okay. Start acting like it. I'm already in your bed. We're talking dirty to each other. All right. Stop with the hesitation. I want to fuck you. Like she just gave amazing feedback. Even like massage, fingering, like slow the fuck down. Okay. You need to cut your nails. So yeah, it's like super helpful.
She's like bleeding.
This is epic.
Yeah. It's super helpful, man. Because like
cut your nails. Yeah.
I did not know
yeah,
about
straight up. Yeah. And like guys
after
come 13,
back and, like,
14
times, you finally learn to stop doing that shit.
Guys come back and they close goals, and now it's like small little changes, bro. You learn to use a blindfold and some handcuffs. Girls think you're a sex god, and it literally took them 2 days to learn. We go through like bondage and rope and stuff like that. But otherwise, yeah, it's still a big pickup boot camp. We go out every single day, every night. You guys are hooked up to mics. We listen in 1-to-2 ratio, and yeah, by the end of the 2 weeks, you have your texting game, cold approach, and sex game.
What's like the guarantee for how many times you jerk off to them with the girl? Like, is there like a 2-to-1 jerk off ratio, or what are we talking about here?
So you lose track.
Yeah, because like if you're jerking off too many times, that's going to make it a little weird. So like a few times I think is good.
One boot camp. One of the girls was super horny, and so I'm teaching like how to finger. I'm doing it, and then she just pulls me and she goes, "I want to fuck you right now." And I was like, "Guys, you want a demonstration how to fuck?" They're like, "Yeah, okay." And I was like, "All right." So that is like
there's a little bit crossover between a boot camp and a gangbang.
Yeah, exactly. Legit.
Marcus, this is
but
going to
it's super
interfere with
helpful.
your political career down the line.
Bro.
Nah, bro. Listen, if Trump can get elected by saying just grab a girl by the pussy and being eligible, the shit is done. I think this is going to help me get elected in my Australian politics. Okay.
You just got to own it. You can't ever apologize.
True,
Hey,
true.
let's there's a
that was
question here
fascinating.
from the mentally challenged people here. Do you see this one from here goes. Man on the street implies that the girl has to have implies to the girl that you have a following and clout. So obviously, David, sorry, I don't know who kicked you in the head. That absolutely isn't what it means. And several of my clients are like stuttering when they're doing it. And then it goes, leave it to Sartain to not realize the benefits of opening without implying loads and loads of online clout. So in his estimation, if you have two phones and you're just recording online, if you're recording man on the street videos with an iPhone, that implies that you have a lot of clout. How awesome would it be, guys, if this guy wasn't a complete idiot and you actually could get a ton of clout from just doing something like that?
Dude,
like, it's
half
just
the girls, I do these street interviews all the time, and half the girls, after I interview them, they're like, so is this for is this for fun, or is this, I'm like, I have a professional camera right here. I have a professional mic.
They have no idea.
They don't know that. They're like, oh, really? You're a YouTuber? Like, they had no
There's
idea.
like a boom guy with a boom mic.
So
the
the commenter, David, this would be a good time for you to take a little bit of feedback. No, bro, you have no idea what you're talking about. Man on the Street video is an incredible teaching tool, and it does not cause the women to become attracted because they assume loads of value, bro. And by the way, if it did, David, you're the first person who should use it. You're the first person who should use it.
I would argue that in Miami, at least, maybe it's not the same in other cities. It actually is harder to pick up a girl with the street interview concept than it is just cold approaching her. Because there's so many people doing this, and I think that a lot of them just have like shitty channels, and so I think the girls can be more on guard. And I think it's also, you're almost like a street person, person who's like hanging out on the street doing shit. Like, that's just implies lower value. So I have a much easier time picking up a girl without any of that.
Yeah, it's really going to depend. I have students that do this, and some of them kill it because they are a little bit confident and they get a huge amount of like social proof from this. Sometimes there's other girls around, they get some pre-selection there. Sometimes it can be super beneficial, but you're right. Other times, like if you're a little bit nervous doing it, you're just like the loser clown on the street, and girls are usually just making fun of them at the beginning. So
I'll tell you,
I think it can carry some value. It might not. Yeah. I think it's going to depend on who the girl is, where you're at, and how you're conducting yourself.
I'll tell you the number one reason why I do this, Marcus, is the number one reason. It's because the guy will talk to me and he'll say, Michael, I did what you said. I've been going out to clubs and been talking to girls, and for some reason, like after I talk to them for a little while, they just kind of walk away, and I don't really understand what the problem is. And then they do this man on the street video, and I swear to you, bro, it goes, "Hey guys, where are you guys from? What are you guys?" They can't even like put the microphone near their mouth because they're too afraid to do it. "What's going on, guys? Do you guys want to come and have a drink with me?" And I'm playing the video back for them, and they're like, "Whoa, that's what I sound like?" I was like, "Yes, dude, women come around and you sound like a little fucking girl. That needs to stop. You need to treat them all the same." That's why Man on the Street is so incredibly valuable, or just any video of them doing an approach, because it's the crack in the voice inflection, the change in the pitch. Is like, "Oh, I'm going to talk really fast now because I don't want you to walk away before I get through the thing I'm saying." And they start talking very fast. They start talking very high pitched, because of the fact that they're not used to being around attractive women, and you're not going to ever get that feedback, and they're not going to know. It's like a person whose breath smells and he can't smell his own breath. They're not going to know that they sound like that until they see the video. So to me, this has been the most beneficial thing, is watching the guys. They have this like flamboyant like neck and arm movement while they're talking to a girl, this weird thing with their head, and they don't see it. And then you film it and you're like, "Hey man, let's try a little bit more stoicism. Let's try a deeper tone. Let's try to not change our voice just because she has big boobs." That's why it's so incredible.
Put your dick back in your pants. This isn't a Marcus UMP boot camp, for God's sake.
Exactly. Yeah, no, recording in field
I'm gonna mention my schedule
if you want
since
to
everyone
feedback.
else talked about their schedule. But
so
yeah, prior to the program, I give them
Sure.
250 lessons in a course, and there's like some specific lessons in an immersion accelerator course that they have to go through. First day is all inner game, so I don't. Basically, I found that action is.
I'm gonna take a piss. Just let me know when this is over.
Action is counterproductive if your inner world really isn't aligned with what you want. Day 2 is a valuation day, which I actually like your exercise, Michael. I think it's good. There's another exercise I do that's kind of similar to that. It's a selfie exercise. I basically have them go out and do as many selfies as possible in a time frame.
We call them Snapchat opens because the Snapchat app actually has a front side light, and we make them make a video with the girl instead of a selfie. But yeah, I mean, it's a similar concept.
So yeah. So we got night game, and me and my assistants are basically with the students. Day 3 is all about night game. So we do exercises based around night game, how to meet girls at night. And all this stuff I have in a immersion video. Day 4 is day game. So we basically film you unethically during the daytime, and we review your footage after.
You do it. And you shame the woman.
And yeah, well, the day game takes like 4 hours, and the reviewing takes like 4 hours. So it's basically like pretty much the whole day is just day game. There's an optional night game after this if the students are not burnt out. Day 5 is all about photo shoots and digital games. So we basically get really good photos, unlike some of the other photographers mentioned in this call.
Fuck you.
Our photographers actually know how to use a camera.
That's good.
No comment on that. I know you guys like the guy, but
it's not that I like him. It means that he takes good photos.
He took my Tinder photos.
People that don't know how to use a fucking camera, dude.
He took my photos.
Yeah,
some of the most likes I've ever gotten were from his photos.
That's wonderful. Using a camera is a prerequisite for our photographers. So we get really good photos, not just good stuff in the shot, like good composition, but actually good quality photos as well. Combination of DSLR camera plus phone camera. So it's not just try hard or whatever. Then we also show you how to edit the photos. We can edit them for you. And then we show you how to rate the photos using 3 different methods. Day 6 is all about relationships and life values. So basically meeting girls is great, but how do you transition that into a relationship? How do you act after sex? How do you transition that into something meaningful? And then how do you establish
the sales pitch?
Your life values?
We've been on this bitch for a minute.
I like learning from you guys. You can learn from this as well. And then day 7 is all about integrating that into your life.
Okay. All right.
Awesome. Hey guys, for me, no more details. Just go to vegasimmersion.io. You'll literally see me in the strip club, like where I teach.
I am
you
never
guys
pulling
Austin, if you ever come,
like this ever again.
What's up? Oh,
I'm never pulling up this type of comment again.
Austin, if you ever want to do a boot camp in Vegas, I'll just let you use the rooms that we have here, and I can put all your guys on a guest list. Or like, there's several other companies that come to Vegas, and I set up all their clients.
I don't know if
Alex,
you come to Tampa, but I'll get you on a yacht over here.
We have a question here from Steve. Can we see all your student testimonials, Alex?
Mine? Yeah, they're on my
website.
Steve
asked if you could show your testimonials.
Alex, when did you start doing boot camps?
I don't know if I want to, because my sales page has some things that are borderline. I don't want to get my YouTube channel fucking erased, but just go to playingfire.com and then go to Ultimate Dating Blueprint, and you'll see them there. There's a million of them there. We got videos, we got screenshots, we got pretty much everything. Photos of me, photos of students. Playingfire.com, and then click on Ultimate Dating Blueprint 2.0.
We had a similar issue with the whole video thing, so we have a separate page. So if you go to the main page, MOA Mentoring, the testimonials are underneath the main video. But if you just go to testimonials, it'll pull up just the testimonials, moamentoring.com/testimonials, for the exact same reason what you're talking about. Like, I can't pull that video up on YouTube without getting in trouble.
And if you think those testimonials are bad, wait till you get to Marcus's with his students.
And then Marcus fingered the girl, and they started fucking right in front of us. It was incredible.
It's Marcus fucking a girl with a thumbs up, and like an Asian and an Indian guy in the back, just like taking notes.
Yeah, I actually do have testimonials of the sex coaching. No fucking right. Like,
I have no doubt whatsoever you do.
Like, do you have a separate website on that, or is that the same website?
I do. I have a orgasmic bliss coaching, but I created a course around it, and I have me fucking like 4 girls in there. It's a whole course, but then honestly, I had a change of heart about putting my porn online. But I'm gonna redo the course just without my dick shown everywhere. But it's a huge part of the game. Like, a lot of guys have sexual anxiety. A lot of guys don't know how to close. Yeah. The biggest reason, like, retention usually fucks up is bad sex game. So I do have testimonials on the sex coaching side. I mean, it is a big.
Why did you have a change of heart?
Did you decide to redo the course with a dildo or what?
It's just going to be a theory course, unless Austen, you want to come in there and you can do the practical videos for me, and I'll tell you what to do. But otherwise, no, it's just it'll just be for the mastermind. I'll just have like a theory video.
What made you
course,
have
I
a
should
change
say.
of heart about showing your pornos?
A few different reasons. The biggest one is just family. Like, I got nieces and shit. I'm like, man,
Agreed.
Like, the worst thing would be if this just like came out. But because back when I did it, this was a couple of years ago that I filmed everything. Back then I was going through like, I give zero fucks. I don't care. But yeah, I just did a change of heart around it.
During
I could care
COVID,
less about my pornos being up, whatever.
during COVID, so many girls would ask if you went out with them to like for you to fuck them on camera. Like this happened so frequently. And obviously I would never do something like that. But later on, when they required the ID from the fucking, like, I had a girl literally would have sex with me, ask me to film it, and then afterwards say, well, I need your ID so I can put this on OF. And I'm like, yo, if I run for political office, you're telling me that this is never going to get hacked and they're not going to just know this shit? I was like, I'm not doing this. This is crazy.
Dude, I thought it'd be funny to like just go.
Trump. You're thinking pre-Trump, back when like.
Yeah, you're right. Now that Trump's in office, now that would actually probably help me. It's like, no, I can.
How funny would it be if all of us ran for office and like just let stuff come out? Oh man, it was so awesome.
And then, but just like played into it. I was like, yeah, for sure, I did. Man, it was that night.
That's
Was
the way
wild.
I would handle it. Like, yeah, that chick like
that night was wild. Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah. Do you guys want some fucking politician right here who probably fucks dudes in the truck stop, or do you want someone who gets laid with women? Women.
I'm a man who liked to have sex with women. I can't imagine how any of you would be able to relate to that. Apparently, my opponent doesn't do that, so maybe that's who you should vote for.
Oh,
He just hangs around Grindr
the
all
smear
day.
campaigns on us would be so hilarious.
No, they would be impossible. You can't like. We don't have shame. How the fuck are they going to smear us?
We'll double down. We'll double down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't actually have anything in the past that I'd be embarrassed about.
QB passport. You should date QB. You should debate QB passport.
Not date debate,
I don't
but
know what
yeah, sure. I mean, I've debated him in the past. He has my phone number. Me and him are cool. You can reach out if he wants to debate.
Please, I don't have a problem with passport bros. That's not my issue. My issue is a lot more of it is sex tourism than they want to admit. That's the only thing I'm saying. A lot more of it is sex tourism than they want to admit. That's just. I'm not saying there aren't some good girls. I'm just like I just noticed the passport bros don't seem to go to Norway because they have a middle class. The women there make money. All of a sudden, the passport bros don't want to go there. They want to stay in Thailand or places like that. If you're a passport bro and you go to,
well, to be fair, it is easier to get laid in those countries, I believe.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well,
like without paying.
So wait, would you consider sex tourism dating or just sex tourism being paying for it?
Paying for it.
Sex tourism would be paying for it, I think. And again, I'm not criticizing you if that's
because I feel like the main reason people would move countries one of the main reasons or travel is to experience dating in a new place.
I agree with Sartain though that a lot of them, like a lot of these guys, do wind up fucking escorts.
Yeah, and they don't like. Again, you're in a place with no middle class.
Flying somewhere.
I know it's super lame. I've just seen it in front of my house.
Bro, I don't know, man. I've seen. There's some really attractive women in Colombia. I'm not telling these guys that what they're doing a lot of dating morally wrong. But it's not game. It's not game,
dude. When I was
a lot of the success and a lot of the fulfillment and fun that comes out of dating is from like the anticipation and the
agreed.
Meeting people and conversation and like the stuff that you do after sex too.
Yeah, but hold on, Austen, consider this like somebody who's like heavily, for whatever reason, maybe they're autistic, some other reason, they just cannot get the OODA loop to work. Like they're not able to take feedback in real time.
I'm autistic. I get it to work.
I know guys who actually have pretty decent game who still fuck escorts.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you saw Travis Scott. He went to Brazil and banged a bunch of escorts after being with Rihanna and Kylie Jenner. So the thing is, there's some guys who are just super uncalibrated, and women, their reactions that women give them frustrate them and make them mad. So that's why when you're talking about the anticipation, I agree with you. I like the anticipation before a date, but if every time you're interacting with a woman, it's like a very negative experience because you do what you think works, but then it never works back. Like you don't get the result that you're looking for, then I can understand. Again, I'm telling you, I understand. Just don't tell me that's game. Just don't tell me that. I don't care if guys want to go pay for prostitutes. Just don't call that game. And then tell me that you're teaching a game course by doing that. That's all.
So when I was like 23 or whatever, when I was kind of like coming up in game, I had two friends who were into pickup, and they both both of their lay counts were at least double digits. Like these were not like incel virgins. And we decided to go to Tijuana. This is when I lived in LA. And I wanted to go to Tijuana primarily because I wanted to get some stuff from the Mexican pharmacy, some stuff that not like hard drugs or anything like that, but some stuff that you can't buy from American pharmacy. So that was the main purpose. And so we got there, go to the pharmacy, and I'm like, so what do you guys want to do? You want to go to a bar, pick up girls? They're like, yeah, bar. And so we go to this club, and I'm like, these girls are just way too friendly. Like something is up right away. I'm like, these are all fucking escorts. They're like, yeah, hell yeah. You pick one that you like and you fuck them. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like this is what you guys want to do? So these guys were like having a competition, like who could fuck more escorts in that one night. And again, these are not like cringe incel guys. These are guys who get laid in America.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's almost like, hey, let's see who can eat the most food at Bacchanal Buffet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird phenomenon. My point is just like when you're in a place that has no middle, the way you do it is you say, does this country have a middle class? If there's no middle class, then the women you meet for the most part are going, it's not that they don't really have any other choice than to be escorts. That's what happens. If you're out in Panama City or if you're out in Medellin, in certain districts, like the girls there just don't make enough money to do anything else. This is a way for them to make 10 times as much as any other job that they would get. So that's the reason why they do it. And then the guys are like, oh, she really likes me. I found a good quality Catholic woman who's going to come. It's like, no, bro, that's not what's happening. And so I don't mind that people are doing it. Like, again, you've not heard me criticize Casey at all for his viewpoint. I thought it was great marketing. I'm just saying, don't come back here and say, well, I'll use these techniques and bang hot chicks in Los Angeles and Miami and New York, because it won't work.
Yeah,
his counter argument to that would be he doesn't even like those girls. There's one point that
I'm not saying it's wrong.
I agree with, which is that women in these other countries, let's say you bring a girl from, like, I'll just use my example, Florida, out on a boat or whatever. It's almost like expected. You bring a girl from Colombia out on a boat, she is so thankful. Oh, thank you so much for bringing us out here. That is so sweet of you. Like, it's just, there is a qualitative difference.
I have literally never bought a girl out on a boat.
There's just a qualitative difference in how they treat you. Not like, oh, this girl's sweet and feminine. There's sweet and feminine girls throughout the entire world. Yeah. But there are different dating markets where the women, it's like, you know that term from economics, absolute advantage. There are some countries that they literally just have like a competitive or absolute advantage in women. Like some of the Nordic countries.
But so it's arbitrage because our standard of living is higher than theirs, and we have a middle class. And they have more disproportionately hotter women in Eastern Europe and in the northern part of South America than any other place in the world. And so that's where the arbitrage economics of the whole situation happens. Again, I don't want these guys to think that I'm judging them. Dude, if you run a Fortune 500 company, you're stressed as fuck, and once a quarter you want to go fuck a bunch of prostitutes in South America, I'm not here to judge you. Just don't come back to me and tell me that you're good with women. That's all.
I sort of judge.
I think it's super gay and lame.
Yeah, I think it's super gay and lame. Especially in Colombia, because it's so easy to get laid there without like any money involved.
Bro, everyone gets laid in Colombia. Like everyone.
Well, that's
but I mean, I agree with Michael. Like, if that's what you want to do, if that's what you want to do, go do it. Just don't say you have like the best game, right? Or like say, hey, Americans are going to teach you how to fucking game.
Also, people say they have good game and they're just fucking hookers.
That's the point. I don't mind people.
I've had emails from people who are like, dude, I saw your video in Colombia, went down there, and I'm still a virgin. Like, the Colombia is maybe 5-10x easier, but if you're at 0, multiply that by 5, you're still at 0.
Sure,
so.
Agreed. Yeah, no, agreed.
That is also really lame. Just like thinking you just wave a passport around and girls will like flock to you.
I mean, yeah, you need to be able to at least somewhat maintain a convo with a girl. You're primarily going to be using dating apps, so you need to have at least somewhat decent photos. I don't know.
Guys, Baltics trip. Who's down for like Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia?
I am my apartment.
I'm down. Let's do it. As long as I have an internet connection, I can do it.
What are some great mindsets have while encountering women's goody shit tests or navigating tiny obstruction? That's an interesting phrasing.
I'm
Mike,
really interested.
Like the answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm really interested in what Marcus is going to say, because it might be something similar. I agree and amplify, or I act extremely naive. So when I'm like, sex. It's like when she's like, I'm not gonna have sex on the first date. I'm like, sex on the first date? That's fucking disgusting. Why would you ever do? We're not even married. There's no way we're going to even have sex until after 3 or 4 months. I would never have sex. And I just play it up and she just starts laughing. And then usually, you end up hooking up that night. But that's the thing I do, because it's not the shit test is like you said, you labeled it properly. It is a shit test. She just needs to receive a feeling from her shit test. And if you give her the proper feeling, then it unlocks the door for her to want to have sex with you. And so in this case, if you play against the feeling, she gives you a shit test. So it's like, hey, I'm a goody girl. I'm not going to have sex with you on the first date. And you try to steamroll that, then what it's going to say is, okay, you failed the shit test. But in another case, for me, what I do all the time is like, I have girls come back to my place and I'm like, listen, I just want to let you know, like, I'm not really comfortable with having sex on the first night. I usually like to wait like 3 or 4. I'll say like maybe 3 or 4 years. We can maybe hold hands and stuff like that. And then they just like reach over to me. It's like, I'm just not really comfortable touching women. And like, you have to be an incredible woman to touch my wiener or to even see it. And I'll say that for a while. They just start laughing. But that feeling, that uneasy feeling of like, I don't know what's going to happen here, that just completely dissipates when you do that, because you made them laugh because it was funny and you went the complete opposite direction. So that's generally what I've done that works. Is just to go in the complete opposite. Like, I can't believe you brought me back to my place to try to fuck me. What's wrong with you? Like stuff like that. I'll just start accusing them while I'm handing them a drink. Like, I can't believe you brought me here. That's horrible. That's what I do. I don't know. I'm just curious.
I think it's important for guys, number one, understand if this is actually a test or actually a concern. So sometimes it will be a test where basically the girl just wants to make sure that you're not super fucking needy, that you're not super reactive. Because one of the biggest fears a girl might have is, I'm really into this guy, I want to have sex, but if I change my mind at the last second, is he going to get really upset and try push for this? And also, does he know that I'm not incredibly easy and a super big slut? So sometimes I'll say like, I don't want to have sex, and it's just a little bit of test there. And yeah, you can like joke around this, whatever. I usually just say like, look, I want to have amazing sex. Okay, that's it. I don't really give a fuck, but if we're going to have sex, it's going to be amazing. And it's when you really fucking want it. So that's it. And I'll just say that. And I'm honest. Like, I don't need it. I don't care. If we're going to have it, it will be the best sex of your life. But that's only going to happen if you're eager, passionate, and wanting it as well. So that's one way to deal with it. Now, sometimes it's actually a concern, right? Sometimes she's got a fucking period. She hasn't shaved. Like, there are concerns out there, and it's nice to know, right? Sometimes you just have to ask. I'll just be like, yeah, no worries, cool. But what's holding you back? And then if she says, well, yeah, I haven't really shaved, then just deal with that. Listen, bit of blood, I don't give a fuck. I'm a real man, okay? I don't care. Then the problem's solved. Another way is value, right? Maybe they're just not that into you yet, like we were talking about before. Assume that you can build that attraction. Start to sexualize the conversation a little bit more. Start to get her a little bit more turned on. Now, instead of her feeling like, I'm just not feeling this right now, she's going to be jumping on your fucking dick. So yeah, I think it's a combination of those, is showing you're unreactive, you don't give a fuck, showing that you're not going to be pushy, that sex is going to be amazing, and then build some value, make sure there's no concern.
The other thing I've done,
that proper order to do it in too. Because the first time you don't want to be super reactive. Like if she's like says nothing's going to happen tonight, like 30 minutes in, you're not going to be like, let's break down your exact concern. Like, you want to be playful, and then
there's a difference between
how dare you? You think something's going to happen tonight? Do I look like a fucking slut? I'm not going to get cooties from you. That just going that. Here's one other one I do, which is just yawn and then say, hey, let me, I got to get up early in the morning. Let me call you an Uber. That usually then leads to like this very like low pressure communication. And generally she doesn't want me to call an Uber. I've also seen that work as well.
Yeah.
I thought this guy put it, but one of my favorite ones is, for like the first time this comes up, is I just say, listen, I'm on my period, so nothing can happen anyway.
Yeah. I'll just give you a quick answer as well. 3 ways to pass a shit test. The first one is to flip it on her. The second one is to agree and amplify or use sarcasm. The third one is to be calm and dismissive. So example, we're going back to them not having sex tonight. So example of flipping on her would be like, wait, what makes you think I want to have sex with you? That would be example of that. Second example of agree and amplify using sarcasm would be like, no, of course not. You think I have sex on the first dates? No, come on. We barely got to know each other. Come on, stop thinking about my body. That would be.
Yo, Alex, I'll bring it up before we even get back to the place. I'm like, hey, I hope you don't think that you're just going to come back to my place and do weird things with me.
Personally,
it's not going to happen. And if my fucking cat doesn't like you, I'm kicking you out of here. I just want to let you know. I'll show him a picture of my cat. And if he doesn't like you, I'm kicking you out of here.
I think that can work if you're advanced and you know what you're doing. I have seen that backfire for people. They sometimes create objections that didn't exist. But I think that can be done correctly. And the third one would be just so you know, we're not having sex tonight. Of course not. And then just move on. So those are the 3 ways you can pass a shit test.
I just want to add here,
Like,
just for the guys listening. I just want to be.
I was laughing because I literally did that the other day.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Very long time ago.
Yeah, just for the guys listening, the guys are saying this with a little bit of tongue in cheek, and they're being a little bit like playful here. I've had students
don't get mad and do
advice. Yeah, and they'll be like,
"Of course not!
I can't believe you're trying to touch my dick."
Yeah, or they'll just be very serious. Like,
what did you think?
They'll say we're not having sex tonight, and the student will be like, "Yeah, I agree, we're not." And now you actually create like mistrust because the girl comes back, you try and make a move, and they're like, "Hang on, you said we weren't." Like, it has to. If you're gonna go that, it has to be playful. It has to be like joking around about. If you're gonna be serious, then do the serious of. Yeah, look, we're not going to have sex unless you really want it, and when we do, it's going to be amazing. But yeah, I'm just saying students.
No, you're right.
Seriously here, and
I think the biggest way guys fail shit tests is that they will just go into logical mode and they'll try to logically argue with the girl.
Did you guys see
we had a good date. Like, what do you mean you don't want to have sex? Like, I think we had a good date. We had a lot of sexual tension. Like, that's instant. I remember clearly when I was in college, this one chick I was going home with, and I made that mistake. Said, just so you know, we're not having sex tonight. And I got into like a mini debate with her about like, well, why not? Like, what? I thought the date went well, and obviously I did not get laid that night.
I've heard people do this to like try to explain it.
Yeah. The biggest thing the girl needs to see is like, I've literally told girls, I can pull up my phone right now and have 5 girls come over this second. I don't really give a fuck that much about sex, okay? We're going to do it. It's going to be incredible. Like, sometimes I'll just straight up say that. But yeah, it's important when you respond to this, you're very chill, relax. If you're asking for the reason why, it can't be why the fuck with like a light shone in her face. It has to be like, yeah, no worries, it's chill. But like, now I'm curious. Like,
you called the police department? Yeah, I need you guys to investigate this girl's not wanting to have sex with me because
Listen, Alex, when you're in politics, okay, that's going to be our policy, all right? The police have to show up to these cases.
Yeah, that's how.
What would be the absolute worst way to respond?
Getting logical, getting.
Why is it that you don't want to have sex with me? That's I went and took you to dinner. What do you mean you don't want to have? Of course, you're supposed to put out.
You owe me.
That's your place as a woman.
Or begging for it. Like, come on, please,
come on, please.
Those are instant deal breakers. Let's do like a few more questions. All right,
I was gonna ask you guys: Have you seen the guy that had 1,000 kids? The Netflix.
Oh, he's like some kind of like he's from Europe,
basically a Dutch guy who's a sperm donor, and he basically was like the most prolific sperm donor, one of them of all time.
Yeah, he's not even that great looking, honestly, in my opinion.
He's not, but it kind of made me think, like, dude, if all the time that I spent gaming and like banging girls with condoms, sometimes not with condoms, but it's like, what if I just spent that time impregnating frumpy lesbians and I had like 1,000 kids?
You're not going to be fucking attractive girls, and why would you want that?
Well, I mean, most of the time he actually doesn't bang them. He just like comes in a cup and gives it to them, and he has like 1,000 kids.
That doesn't seem like a positive thing.
Yeah, why is this good?
this just seems like not pure negative. Yeah. All right, 29 still got a long way to go.
Why would it be pure negative if someone can't have a kid and they want you to give them a kid? They're getting like 35 times taken. They want a kid.
No. That part is not negative.
Corporate
it's not
whatever.
Pure negative. I'm just saying, like, I just wouldn't want to have a bunch of random children that I didn't even raise. Like, if I'm gonna have a kid, I want to raise that kid. I want to do my best for that kid. Like, I just don't want to have.
¿Por qué no los dos, Alejandro?
I just don't want to have a whole bunch that.
But why not have like 100 kids that you don't really raise, and then you have like 5 kids that you do raise as part of your family, like that's close knit?
5 would still be way too much. Like, if I have kids, it's gonna be 1 or 2 kids. It's not gonna be 5. Are you kidding me,
dude? What if a nuke hits that city and all your kids are dead? Why not have some kids in Tanzania?
Okay, I'm done with you. All right. Anyway, to the comment. 29, still got a long way to go. Extreme case with bad social anxiety. Didn't lose my virginity until 22. Now averaging 1 to 2 girls a month and raising my standards. Good job, man. Good stuff. I always like hearing stuff like this. And then we jump to this comment. It's never been more difficult in America for men dating market, but it's also true that there's never been more info out there for men to use. What is the evidence that's never been more difficult for men in the dating market?
So a couple of things. So that the amount of men who are sexless increasing, or the amount of men who've had like one sexual partners in like the last year or two, that number is increasing. And then also additionally on dating apps, it's the top 10% of men get 100 matches for every 1,000 right swipes. The average man gets 6 matches for every 1,000 right swipes.
The average guy has a horrible profile. You ever?
No, but that's not. But when we say, hold on, the thing is, we say is it's never been more difficult in America for men in the dating market. I've said this a million times, and until everyone starts thinking the way I do, this is never going to make sense. There's high status men, there's women, and there's low status men. There are 3 different groups. Low status men chase women, women chase high status men. That's the way it works. So when he says it has never been more difficult in America for men in the dating market, he's talking about the bottom 80% of men, and that is true. Those men get 6 matches for every 1,000 right swipes. 69% of dudes who were in one survey stated that they went on a dating website, got on a date, and were friend zoned by a girl. So it's actually worse than being rejected. They're getting friend zoned. So in this situation like that, it is getting significantly worse, and it's getting worse because of social media, and it's getting worse because I just read the article. There's 5 nightclubs in London every week that are closing down because attractive women are not going out. The reason why I get paid so much to throw some of my events is because I'm one of the few guys left here who can like get a ton of girls to show up to stuff. And so it is definitely getting more difficult for the average guy. If you're a high status dude, it's never been easier. It's never been easy. You know how to use Instagram. Your IG is on point. You're in shape. You have social proof that you can show, relevancy, competency, access to scarce locations, resources, access to scarce networks, humor, charisma. You're that dude. You have never had it easier in your life. Top 1% of men, 150 sexual partners. Top 5% of men, 50 sexual partners. And then you have the bottom third of men, it's like 1.
So, Sartain, I used to believe that. Actually, I used to believe that like 2 years ago. But then when I started deep diving into some of the data, so you mentioned initially, I think you're talking about the study that shows that it looks at men 18 to 27, and it shows that something like in 2008, it was about 7% of them didn't have sex.
Yeah, I know. So
yeah.
I already know because Alex from Datesite posted this, and then he posted a rebuttal thing. The problem is, so the number goes up to like 28%, something like that, and then comes back down to like 18%, something like that. That was the reason why it came. Okay, well, I'm letting you know there is a thing that shows the chart of sexless men under the age of 30 going up, and then right after COVID it plummets. And the reason why is because it was right after COVID. Women were far more interested in personal interaction, and that's why it plummeted. And then since then, it's gone back up.
Yeah, so that's not my rebuttal at all. I've actually dug into the original study about this. And there actually is a lot more details that is just left out when people often talk about this. So when you look at it by age, when you break it down by age, 18 to 20, right, from that study, had like a 50% didn't have sex in the last year.
You're talking about the virginity study. That's a different study. You're talking about the virginity study. I'm talking about the Washington.
No, I'm talking about didn't have sex in the last year.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, but once you go up to like 24 plus, it was like 2%. If you go to 22 to 24, it's like
I'm pretty sure you're talking about the virginity study. I'm pretty sure you're talking about, if you look at it's the number, it's the percentage of men that are virgins under the age of 30. That's the study you're talking about. Once they get to 29 years old, then it's like below 4%. I think that's the study
once they get to 25, it's below 2%.
That haven't had sex in the last year.
I believe it's either that or are virgins, but I think it's haven't had sex in the last year. I'd have to double check my video, but I'm pretty sure it's.
I mean, either way, like I think we can agree that, yeah, it sucks for a lot of men. But the question kind of said, even those are a lot of information. A lot of those men are looking at the right information, right? Or any information. And if they are, it might be some like red pill. When I say red pill, I mean the bad red pill shit. The point is, if you're a guy with the right information that actually wants to make this work, this is the easiest time. You have access to fucking millions of fucking women. You have access to the right information. It's actually not shunned upon these days to actually get advice from other men about dating and things like that. Women are more sexually open. You can sleep with more women now. Like, I look at this and think, honestly, this is the best time. If there's a student coming to me and being like, yo, I need some help, the first thing I'm thinking is, you lucky motherfucker, you're 20 years old. Bro, I wish I was fucking 20 years old with the fucking all the information you have right now and the guidance you have right now. This is the easiest time if you have the right information. But yeah, I agree. For majority of guys, it probably sucks balls. There's like the competition's massive. They don't have access to girls that are interested in them and shit like that. But yeah, it's, if you're here, you're listening, you're good to go.
Again, I said for low status men, they're having it hard. For high status men, it's never been easier. So the solution is do things that show higher status. Like you are more confident when speaking to women. You can show more pre-selection or social proof. You are in better shape. Do things that improve your status. For those guys, it's never been easier because the rest of the world is being taught the opposite. They're eating a terrible diet. They're going into massive debt. They're not educating themselves. They're getting bad advice from Justin Baldoni and Chris GQ Perry and fucking Will Hitchens. They're getting terrible advice. And so because of that, if you want to get out of that low status men category into the high status men category, that's the solution, rather than just trying to like shame women or whatever, oh, hypergamy is the problem or whatever. No, hypergamy, it exists, but it's not the problem. It's definitely not the problem if you learn mechanisms to be a high status man. And I'm talking about mechanisms other than money, other than looks, and other than height. Other than those things, there are mechanisms that can put you in that high status category where more women find you attractive, and it's just dating is much easier in that space.
Okay, I mean, I agree with that. I think, okay, the way you describe high status is different than the way I imagine it. When I think of high status, I just mean like clout. Like you have like you're someone, or it can be local status, but you have status in that environment. I don't mean like your confidence or your tonality or all of that. But I think the way you define, based on the way you define high status, I would agree with you.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, it can, because you think of great orators that weren't like particularly wealthy. Martin Luther King had high status, but he had high status because of his charisma and his ability to speak. It wasn't because of his money. So there are different ways for you to have a certain level of status. And I don't need you to be as famous as The Rock or Cristiano Ronaldo, just like a 1 or a 2 on a scale of 1 to 10. Because when we go out in my part of the town, in my part here in Las Vegas, when I go to a restaurant, this chef will come out to greet me. It's just a little bit of status. When I go out to a nightclub, the door guy knows my name. He gives me a high five. He lets me up on stage at the nightclub. It's a little bit. It's a 1 or 2 out of 10 level of status. And if you do that, because so few men have any understanding or concern about this, you crush other men. This is the reason why, again, the top 10% of men on dating apps are getting 16 times as many matches as the average man. That is a very inequitable distribution.
Would you use status as like a synonym for attraction? Like if I was just an incredibly good looking guy on Tinder,
that's a good question.
Would you say like I'm high status?
So because status is perceived, so it would be like I have and also status is contextual. So if I'm like giving I'm at a convention and I'm giving a speech to a bunch of nerds, in their viewpoint, I'm high status. But then again, if I'm the quarterback of a football team, then it's a different kind of status. I think that thing is more contextual. I just think in general, being in shape is better than not being in shape. I think in general, speaking louder and having more confidence in your voice is better than not. I think in general, being more charismatic is better than not. And so in those cases, more women find you attractive. And then from that, they don't have to be the same thing, but one generally does lead to another. I've definitely had girls come watch me speak, do public speaking, and it's very clear that they found me more. When I'm a ring announcer, I do a ring announcer for boxing, and girls will watch me on stage, and like little
Jesus
girls.
Christ, how many hustles do you have? Yeah, I'm like fucking unlimited hustles.
Yeah, bikini competition and ring announcer. Yeah, those are the two I host. But
like
from those, I've definitely had girls that were like not interested, didn't notice me, and then they saw me in the ring announcing the fights. And then afterwards, I had imbued status on them, but I did not use money. I used my voice. And so that's what I would recommend for guys to do. There are other ways to do this, just kind of being the leader of the group in order for you to show a higher level of status so that you don't have to, you're not mulling in this quagmire of the bottom 80% of men.
So yeah, I agree. I mean, I just changed it to like attraction. Yeah, like build
sure.
more attraction. One of the big
well from a girl standpoint, the attraction's all that matters. So yeah, you're right.
I agree with you about the importance of status, just because I've experienced like bits and pieces of that. Like when I've gone out, it hasn't happened often, but when I've gone out with a few girls who recognize me from YouTube, who reached out to me, it's just like it was so much easier than like just a regular date. Or when I got invited to like an exclusive party, like where it was like you had to be invited to this thing because it was my friend's birthday, and then it was just like so much easier to pull from there than it was. So I completely agree with you. But the way I've always looked at it, and maybe this is just, I'm not even saying you're wrong, I'm just saying this is like kind of the way I've looked at it, is that they're like separate things. Like you can be high status, and that is a massive cheat code. But if you really lack confidence, and there are guys who are high status who are just like really just fucking not good with girls, that's going to set you back massively. And you can also not really have any status. Like I would say that it'll take my YouTube channel away, that I don't really have any like status, anything significant, but I am so confident, charismatic, that I can still pick up girls, and I can sometimes swipe girls from guys who have more status than me. If you take a guy who has the same level of charisma and game as me, but he's much higher status, then he will win. But if you take a guy who just has like no charisma, no game, but he's higher status, then, you know, quite often I will win. So I don't know. That's kind of how I've always looked at it. What do you think?
I mean, I'm just of the opinion I can take it with me wherever I go, and it doesn't matter if anyone knows who I am. I can still project status, even if no one's ever seen me, met me, whatever, just by the way I carry myself. So
yeah,
Alex,
and maybe I'm using it the wrong.
Game's good.
The wrong.
Yeah, I would personally call that
how
game.
you're communicating and how
What?
status is.
No, I understand.
Part of your game is status signals, like how you're communicating. If you speak loud, if you speak confident, how you talk to people, that is status.
Yeah, I've always defined it differently in my mind. That's what.
Hey guys, here's a good question. I had a guy just write me. He goes, hey man, I would argue that promoting is harder than pimping. And I was like, what the? He's a promoter, and I was like, bro, what are you talking about? He goes, no, pimping is definitely harder. And he goes, no, not at all. And here's his response. Listen, in promoting, you can't capture her and hook her on drugs, so she's consistently dependent on you. Like, yes, you can. That's fucking terrible.
Yo, Michael, how much screen time do you have per day? Because do you spend a lot of time messaging, or do you have people message for you?
So I have a VA who does it, who does the messaging.
Okay,
yeah.
Nice.
So it's pretty real easy to teach them. You can go, we can teach you at MOA, but it's real easy to teach them. You just give them your checklist or your list, your Google spreadsheet, and then they go and message every one of the girls the invites for your events.
Do you give them your login, or do you give them access to like Go High Level or something?
No, we've tried Go High Level. It doesn't work. I give them access to my login with 2-factor authentication. I've never had a problem.
All right, let's do like 2 more questions and let's wrap up. Wait, no, not this one. So I want to address this. The black pill would say in general being handsome is better than not being handsome. You don't have to be a black pill to believe that. Every single person, any person believes that. 99% of people on the planet believe
this
that.
Is not what the let's be real. This is not what the black pill
is. The black pill says that if you're not handsome, you're fucked. That's what the black
pill says. Handsomeness is the only thing that fucking matters. That's what the
only thing that matters. Exactly. That's what the black pill believes. Okay, let's do one more.
I think there is a overlap between status and looks as well, but I wouldn't say that it's 100% like the black pillars would say. I'd say it's probably like 30%.
I don't think they would even say it's 100% overlap between looks and status. The argument against status would be so few guys can achieve it. It's not practical. That would be their argument.
I would agree.
Yeah,
with Michael.
it's just not true.
You can achieve a lower level of status. Like it's almost better to be like a local celebrity, like Justin Mark in Canada. Like he out competes celebrities because he has so much local clout. It's absurd.
Yeah, sure. I can believe that. What is building attraction? The sound mystery message. You literally think you can spark attraction when you talk to them in the street without them being attracted to you?
Yes, 100%.
My model revolves around assuming attraction, although less so for cold approach. I think it depends. Like it just depends. Obviously, you're going to have a higher success rate if the girl's warm or hot. But I've had situations where the girl was not interested in me. I wrote about one. This is like the most drastic one. I don't know if you guys know who this is. Do you guys know who BJ Fitness is? It sounds kind of gay, but
Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus
he's
Christ.
Australian,
Yeah,
remember that name.
back in the day, bro.
yeah. So it was that time, Marcus, when I met you in Poland, and then me and DJ went to. There's another guy there. We went to Prague, and so me, that other guy, Antonio, he was with a girl. So me and DJ went out, and BJ is like a bodybuilder, right? And at that time, I was like 145 pounds. I was really, really skinny. This was way before TRT days. And so we approached two girls, and I approach, actually, he's kind of hanging out in the background. And the girl was like, no, you're not, right away. She was polite, but she was like, you're not my type. I like guys who are bigger, and like basically instant rejection. And so I was like, oh yeah, you should meet my friend then. I just like took her hand, put it on his ab. She's like, oh yeah, he's cool. And then at the end of the night, I wound up having sex, not him. So that is a classic example of me being able to build attraction. So
yeah, I mean, we all have so many examples of this where girls will probably say, not my type, and we fuck them. Like the simple thing, if you're this guy asking the question, ask yourself, have you ever been on a date where you had attraction and then you lost it? Right? The exact same thing is happening in reverse. This girl is finding out more about you, and she either finds those traits attractive or not attractive. Probably for you, I assume she's finding him plenty not attractive. But if I go on a date, the girl doesn't know who the fuck I am, right? If she starts finding out that, yes, I'm an international coach, if, you know, I do have this status in the cloud, if I am going to be amazing in bed, if I am super confident, if I am not reactive to what she's like, all these traits, she can't just know by looking at me. She doesn't know who the fuck I am. This is the same with friendship. I'm sure you've met a bunch of people at first you thought were complete douchebags. You might be good friends with them now. Or the other way around. You thought this guy's fucking amazing, and then 2 weeks later, you hate his guts. It's crazy to think that as humans, we meet someone, look at them, we know everything fucking about them, and that's that. Obviously not. There are going to be traits that are attractive that you're going to find out over time, and it's going to increase the attraction with the woman.
And I'll back this up with the gay science answer. There's 6 adaptive problems that women are trying to solve for, and most of them are you need behavioral cues. It takes some time for women to understand those behavioral cues because she needs to see you in a variety of different situations, etc.
But we were talking street without you giving them a drink. The comparison isn't the same. I've had many girls who I have never bought them a drink. Like, do you think a girl is going to fuck a guy because he got her one drink? Like, is this really where we're at? Like,
So
you think a girl's going to be like, well, you got me a drink, so now I have to fuck you? Like, you think that's going to play a big role?
It's so crazy. These questions when the guy's like, oh, man on the street they just think you have clout, or you buy one drink, and it's just so obvious you guys don't fuck, and you're asking these questions. And that's why for us it's so confusing, and we get so frustrated because it's so blatantly clear you have no idea what you're talking about, and then say that we don't, and then we show pictures proving we do.
So the most recent video I released is called Average Guys Reveal How They Met Their Girlfriends. And I just interview a bunch of couples where the guy's like average looking. And so, you know, some people were like, yeah, this is awesome, man. This gives me hope. But there also saw comments like, well, all these guys must be rich.
Of course, there's going to be some
all these dudes must
there's
be
going to
rich.
be some reason.
Yeah.
All these dudes must be simping. Like shit like that. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, there's no amount of evidence you could show a black pillar. This is something I've come to terms with. No amount of evidence you could show a black pillar. I could show a video of that guy, like from his birth, like a whole fucking thing where he like eventually meets his girlfriend, fucks her, like the whole sex tape. It's like, yeah, it's probably digitally altered. Like there's just
I mean, the reason is for them to understand that and admit that, Alex, the same way they have to admit that this is my fault and I'm not good enough right now, and there's things that I need to do and change. So like that's super hard, bro. Imagine coming to terms with like, I'm the reason why this isn't working. It's much easier to like look at your video and say that guy must be rich.
Yeah, victim means it's not my fault. That's what victim means. Victim means it's not my fault. I'm fat, it's not my fault. I'm a YouTube troll, it's not my fault. I don't have any money, it's not my fault. I live with my parents, it's not my. That's what
was your guys' reaction when you first saw a video about game and you first knew the game was like a thing?
It was it was when I read the book. It was when I read the book The Game. It was extremely gave me a lot of hope because I thought like this was like my little secret. Like I was the only one that everyone else more or less had to figure it out. It was like, holy shit, like I'm not alone. It's like, imagine you have a disease and you think like you're the only one who has this disease, and you discover there's a community of people who have this disease, and also there's a treatment plan, and a lot of them have recovered. I mean, it was like gave me massive inspiration and hope.
for me, Eben Pagan had a Double Your Dating course that was on DVD, and he had a bunch of different. So when you read the game, he talks about Neil talks about going to this course and speaking on stage with a bunch of other people. I watched that course before I read the game because that course had come out before, and then Eben Pagan later came out. He went by the name of David D'Angelo, the Double Your Dating course. And then afterwards, he came out under his real name, Eben Pagan, and he's the guy who invented the squeeze page that so many people use right now. That was the first time I'd ever saw Mystery, Owen. That was the first time I saw Neil. That was the first time I saw Eben. The first time I saw one of these people. And then the game came out, and I'd already been exposed to it a little bit. But when that book came out, then I read that. And then probably 5 years later, I became friends with Neil. I bumped into him at a concert and took him out for his birthday.
Oh, cool. Does Neil still do podcasts?
I don't know. I've talked to him in a while.
Oh, gotcha. Let's send it off with this. What do you guys think? I didn't bring this up because I didn't want to derail. But what do you guys think about doing a Doge debate next Monday?
I mean,
the
problem is whatever we say is going to be so subjective. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's going to be like he found something and it's like, well, official government records say that what he's saying isn't true. And I'm like, okay, but official government record, like, here's my whole thing. Here's the Doge debate. Cut. And when you keep cutting, if you don't have to bring 10% of the shit back, then you didn't cut enough. That's it. The federal government, even if we make a fucking ton of mistakes cutting different things, it's like when you debug a code, you take out different lines of code to see if the thing will still execute to figure out where the problem is. That's the same situation here. Not only do we need to cut, we don't even understand the mechanisms that are causing all this money to get spent. And so I just say cut fucking blatantly. And then once you figure out where the problem is, then you can start adding things back slowly with way more transparency than we have right now. That's my whole Doge debate.
I'm happy to argue that because that makes absolutely no sense. Just cut. How are we deciding what is good or bad after that? Like, it's just going to end to a bunch of cuts and a bunch of inefficiency after that.
Well, I would argue we've already seen the downside.
I'll tell you as
and I would argue that we've been lied to about what is being cut. Like, I watched that video, Austen, and I think there's a lot of lies in that video, and I don't want to get into it now because we're already 2 hours in, but I'd be happy to get into it next time and break it down for you, like step by step, why that video is bullshit.
I'm just telling you, in my company, we went through and cut. We figured out every single thing that was not vital. And then after 2 months, we brought some of those things back and we're perfect. Cut expenses in half by doing that because you start to figure out what is absolutely vital in your company and what isn't. It's the same thing to do with our federal government.
The problem is we're not doing that.
Yeah, exactly. For a private company, that might work. You look at some things and say, I'm not really sure if we need this. Let's cut it and see what happens. I think that's fine. That's not what's happening with Doge right now. So
I agree. I think it's more important that you cut government spending because government is so inefficient at using money. So every dollar that can be used in a private enterprise is about 10 times more efficient that can be used.
I know you're a narco-capitalist, but some of the stuff that's being cut is just horrible and is objectively going to hurt America more than it's going to help America. But again, I don't want to start the debate right now because this is at least an hour-long debate. I just wanted to see if you guys were down to do it.
I mean, I could do some research. The problem is we're just going to be coming with objective stuff, like subjective ideas back and forth. No, again, for me, in general, most dollars spent by the federal government are misspent. In general, I believe that. So in general, if you blindly start cutting, I think you're doing more good than harm. In general, especially when you look at this massive inflation rate and the incredible amount of debt that we have in this country, we have no possibility of paying this shit off until we cut till it fucking hurts. We have no possibility. And your grandchildren are going to inherit massive levels of inflation.
We don't.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think that's true. So I'm down to debate it.
Yeah. So let's just get
$30 trillion in debt. Our country's $30 trillion in debt. What do you mean?
We have our own national sovereign currency.
So then, why do they want to do?
Is owned by American companies.
So why are we talking about tax cuts and more military spending like that? That's just contradictory to this whole thing. So I mean, I'm happy to.
That's not a Doge debate. I'm with you. Sometimes you need tax cuts, sometimes you don't. But my point is, as far as cutting spending, neither party has wanted to touch this for years. And the fact that someone's touching it, even if it's completely under malicious, nefarious, narcissistic dissent for doing it, Cutting is what's important, and no one's wanted to do this for 50 years, 100 years in this country. And so someone, if they could just make this acceptable to start deleting certain departments from the federal government that don't do shit, I am all for it. And then once we find out we're wrong, then we can bring it back.
A lot of stuff that has been cut actually is very important. And it's
exactly.
I
agree with the principle. I agree with the principle. If we say there's a lot of government spending that doesn't do shit and we should cut it, of course. But the problem is the practicality of that. They haven't found things that are not important and been cutting it. They've just been cutting.
I mean, we're going to disagree on that. I mean, I think they have.
Yeah, I mean, we can argue. We can look at the programs they've cut and we can discuss whether it's important or not. Yeah.
What would happen? Go ahead.
But let's just get again. I didn't want to start this debate. I just want to get an idea if you guys are interested or not. Like, just if you're interested, let me say yes. Okay, you're interested. Austin, are you interested?
I don't think my opinion would even like. You guys are gonna be arguing about these things, and I'm gonna literally argue against taxation in general because it's immoral from the grounds, like ground level.
Okay.
So my opinion, opinion. And the philosophy behind it is like kind of different.
Well, we can just
what Michael was saying made complete sense to me. But
yes, in theory, it is good to cut things that are not useful. I think everyone agrees with that on the left and right. The argument that me and Marcus would make is that we're cutting things that are actually good, and some of the things we're cutting are actually causing more damage than they're actually saving money. That would be the argument. So where do you stand, Austin? You want to do it? You don't want to do it? You want to?
I don't want to research anything.
You don't have to.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Like, I would do it. I'd have to set aside a whole week where I wasn't working and then just do research on it, and I would have my notes out.
I also hate fucking defending other people that I don't even know and like their actions. I like more philosophical debates, like what should the functions of the government be, or what should like.
See,
versus like technically, well, Elon, what he did, he cut this one, and then this lady died, and it's like I don't give a fuck, dude. My identity is not so large that I need to defend some random guy.
It's not about identity.
The general principle of cutting government spending, I think, is good. I don't think the government needs to be doing that much.
No one disagrees with the idea that you should cut waste, fraud, and abuse. That's why we had Inspector General.
Yeah, the problem is no one has.
Exactly.
No one has. The problem is no one has. No one has even touched this. It's been a political nightmare because the problems that happen, all these people are supporting you because of the money you send to their district. The idea
I've just got a question. Do you think with this administration and with Doge that they're going to reduce the budget spending in this administration?
Yeah, I do.
Well, no,
I absolutely do.
I've seen.
I mean, this is an objective. This is an objective thing we can go over. Just like there's a 70% chance that Kamala Harris was going to win. I'm telling you, let's look at this at the end of the administration.
Hang on, that's not the same thing. That was my prediction. That was not an objective.
Okay, got it. Well, my prediction is yes. Well, I'm doing the same thing. My prediction is at the end of this administration.
But we don't need to look. We don't need to do predictions. We can just take a look at the what's it called? The bill, the spending bill that's making its way through, I believe, the Senate right now. We can just look at that, and we can look at the numbers there. There's about
it's going to decrease federal spending by $2 trillion over the next 2 years.
Yeah, it's not though. If you actually look at the numbers, there's a trillion.
The New York Post.
There's $1 trillion in extra debt because we're going to give a massive tax break. Okay, so you're saying that this tax bill that's making its way through Congress is going to cut by $2 trillion?
It says the Department of Government Efficiency, led by Elon Musk under President Trump's administration, aims to reduce federal spending.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Yes, you're talking. What you're saying, Austin, is he's come out and said we're going to reduce it by $2 trillion. What we're saying is that is complete dog shit. There's no way he's reducing it by $2 trillion.
I don't.
The actual bill that's in Congress right now.
Yeah, I think from his indications from trying, you guys have look at how much we spend military expenditures outside the United States. If he is for getting rid of a lot, and I'm saying this as a former military member, if he's for getting rid of a lot of that, yes, I do believe by the end of his administration,
the tax bill raises military expenses by $100 billion.
Yeah, he wants to increase military spending. He wants a fucking dome around America or some bullshit, right? Like
you can say that you want to cut military spending, but if you look at the actual bill that's in Congress, it raises military spending by $100 billion.
Okay,
dude,
I believe that by the end
is also one of the most they're like each dollar I think spent in the military, it's like you get like 4 cents or 5 cents of value from it. It's one of those like 1 to 20.
People on the left report cutting military.
I don't know if that's quite true.
Yeah, and I don't like how you measuring value. Like if you're saying how much money we're making for military spending, you're not spending on the military to make money. You're spending on the military to have defense, right?
I think we can easily cut the Pentagon budget by half and still have by far the strongest military. So no one on the left is against that. It's just that's not what's happening. But anyway, all right, we're going down this road.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm down.
So okay, so is that a pass for Michael and Austin? I just want to clarify.
I have to consider you'd have to give me a couple days.
Like a third party here.
Because we're taking the defensive position, then that means I have to research all these.
Not necessarily we're taking a defensive position.
Of course I am because Doge exists, therefore Doge is attacked. It's not the other way around. So yeah, that's the way it would.
No, the argument would be: is Doge doing more harm?
Is Doge whatever? It doesn't matter. Then Doge is the protagonist in the.
But we could defend the position if you want. The argument could be that Doge is helping reduce like fraud and abuse or whatever, and now we could defend saying
yeah. I mean, my argument is going to come down to the same thing. Even if they're wrong, I'm still happy someone is fucking doing this in this government because it hasn't been done.
That's so crazy.
Well, what if I can show you that this is causing more harm than good? What if I can?
Sure. I mean, you can, but then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have to trust your sources as far as whether or not it's doing more harm.
My sources will be like Forbes and stuff.
But I think like it's important to be able to separate the principle here from the action a little bit. Like I could have the principle of saying like, look, I want to improve dating in America, okay? And then I go out there and I start murdering all the Chads. And you're like, well, at least he's helping dating in America, right? I think that's a good thing. Like we need to separate.
I think
it's
a little bit. That's a little bit extreme. I think it's a little bit.
It's a very extreme. But it's trying to prove the point here.
The thing is, even if they cut all the things they say that they're going to cut, we're still not even talking about 20% of the budget. That's why I don't think it's the same.
Not even 5% of the budget. Yeah,
I disagree. I think it will be more than 5% of the budget. I think it will be when they're done.
Well,
I think what's going to happen is
they're talking $2 trillion. They're saying they're cutting $2 trillion, right? Was it more originally? Like what is even the
wide range, but it's U.S. military regularly overpays 2 to 100 times or more for equipment and services.
Yes, and they fail every audit. I know that I'm all for cutting the Pentagon, but that's not what's happening. Like that's not what no one's doing that.
Okay, you could use the same example for almost everything in the government. They overpay by 10, 15, 20, 50 times. So in general, it's just a waste. Instead of resources being allocated to things that are productive and efficient, they get sent to like literal just fucking bullshit.
Well, that's not true. Like for example, Medicare and Medicaid is more efficient than private healthcare.
I think it's part of the reason why private healthcare is inefficient is because on some of the Medicare and Medicaid patients
that would be a whole separate.
So discretionary spending is only 1.6 trillion.
Like the worst spending in general is when you have corporate plus government that provides like a protective moat around this like corptocracy.
Yeah, I agree.
Incest gangbang.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right. Anyway,
like that's what happened to the U.S. college system. U.S. government's basically. Oh, did I freeze? No. Yeah, the U.S. college system, like the U.S. government guaranteed loans to go to college, so people just go to college for anything. Do I keep cutting out?
No.
Okay. Yeah, guaranteed loans to go to college. So then the colleges had no incentive to keep the tuitions low, so they just kept raising it.
There's many reasons for this, but anyway. All right. So why don't you guys just think on it and let me know in the chat if you guys want to do it or not. You don't need to make a decision now.
Yeah, I'd say like taxation breaks the non-aggression principle and it's immoral.
Yeah, I don't abide by
it denies the autonomy of human
yeah, maybe
beings.
not this week. Some other week I think maybe we could do it, but I don't.
Yeah, that's fine.
What I have to do, I have Babes in Toyland and I've got to fucking Access Vegas this week. I just don't have time.
Yeah, it's all good. Just let me know. All right, guys. Anyway, fun stream. Covered a lot of good shit. Hopefully, everyone in the chat.
Show me where I signed the.
Can I say one thing? Can I say one thing before we go? We're doing an animal rescue charity at Jason Aldean's bar here in Las Vegas on Thursday. It's going to be at 9 p.m. Babes in Toyland Goes Country. All the girls are showing up in Daisy Dukes and cowboy hats. It's going to be in cowboy boots. It's probably 300 girls coming to this. We got them hotel rooms at the Aria. So if you guys are in town and want to help us support an animal rescue, go to babesintoylandcharity.com. I get paid nothing for this ever. I get paid absolutely zero. And all the donations that we have for the animals go straight to the animal shelter. We don't ever even physically touch them. So if you guys want to come and support us in that, also on Wednesday, I'm going to do an episode of Access Vegas, and the girls from Babes in Toyland are going to come on the show to help me promote it. So if you guys are interested in that, come out. And then on April 19th, I'm actually going to be hosting the Bunny Ball in San Diego, California. We're collecting stuffed animals for orphanages. If you guys want to come out, a ton of fucking hot girls come out to that. And the tickets you can find, just look up the Bunny Ball on Instagram. You can find it pretty easy.
All right, cool, guys. Anyway, fun stream. I'll see you guys next week. Take it easy, everybody.
All right,
Catch you, bro.
Take care.
See you, man.